Hello? Hello. Hello there. Everybody, happy Monday. Welcome to the start of another week as we... It's Mondays, but it's grand, right? You know, we'll ease our way into it, right? Every day we get closer and closer to the weekend, so it'll be grand. Wait till I tell you. Now, for those of you following along with our subliminal messaging, 4, 4, and 4. Now, wait till I tell you, right? So,
Dreamy, sleepy, nighty, snoozy, snooze.
I had a week, Jesus. I had a weekend of it, right? On Saturday, anyway. Went out. We'd go off and get our shopping done, which is what you do on a Saturday, you see. So, went out to the car and I saw that it was plastered with the birds. Right. Bother, I said. So anyway, right. Let's take my dad's car. So I did. Took my dad's car. He was away. He's back now. I didn't have as much. But anyway, we went off and we went to Limerick, of all places. That's right, friends. And, Jesus. That's a big 10 for After Limerick came back and watched the final of Yellowstone, right? It was brilliant. Sunday, I got up good and early. I had lots of work to do. Lights. I got lots of work done. Loads of behind the scenes stuff that goes on in the man cave, right? But then we said, right, I had to go out because I noticed the amount of bird droppings on the Skoda. I was shocked and appalled. I was shouting at the birds for ages. Right. Anyway, I got them sorted, got the car washed, went through a Karcher, automatic wash. It usually does a good job. And no, it didn't get all the bird crap off. So then I had to pay for the manual wash and presented elbow grease and got rid of it. Wonderful. Not an hour later, the bird said, your man cleaned his car, look. Fire for effect. And they destroyed it again. So I was out then yesterday evening, gave it a quick... But Anyway, then I got up this morning to go to work and it was plastered once again. What? Right. I reckon it's because they can see themselves as they fly, because it's a shiny car, and it's not covered in bird droppings. So I got into work this morning. The first thing I did, I washed the car. So we'll see how it is in the morning. I'm not hopeful, So we're having a bird problem. But anyway, apart from that, friends, we're here tonight. What an intro. We're here tonight to start the IFR part of our FAA Conversion Course. Now, you might be saying, IFR, I saw the best one ever there. Where did I see it? The impossible face. Yes, the Irish landing system invented by the instruments, right? Brilliant. But an instrument landing system. So this is part of the WINGS IFR flight series that we'll be taking a look at over the next couple of weeks as we transition. We're relatively happy enough now with the VFR flying in the United States. I mean, we did everything from the pattern work. We've done a VFR cross country. We've done quite a bit flying in and out of Class Bravo, Class Charlie and Class Delta airspaces. But now we transition over to the instrument flight rules. And this is kind of where the meat and veg is going to be for the airline style flights. I mean, you're going to be flying short distance, long distance. It doesn't really matter. But when the weather, friends, when the weather is not playing particularly tickety-boo, well, we have to fly by our instruments. Now, there are some changes, when it comes to the FAA versus what we have in Europe. There's a few changes, the layout is slightly different, and just some of the flows, they're similar but different at the same time. So we're going to have a little bit of a focus at that now this evening. Right? Jesus! There's all buttons being pressed and it's Monday. I look terribly tanned, look. Do you know? We had, we had chicken Kiev, the Kiev of chicken for dinner tonight, served with potatoes that were made with chorizo. Right? And, wait, you get this. You can get Eddie Rocket's sauces in Dunn Stores. We went to Limerick. It's a huge Dunn Stores. I also went to the Mountain Warehouse. Love me, the Mountain Warehouse. And I should have worn one of them shirts tonight, but we'll ease your way into it. Now, for those of you wondering, where's my Liverpool jersey? It's gone into hibernation. Yes. Summer attire only. And my green shirt, which I wanted to wear, hasn't dried yet. So we're in the jumper, the pullover as it was, right? So that's where it's at. But yeah, fans of the football, congratulations to Liverpool on doing their thing. When was the last time they won the league? I'm trying to remember. Right? That was that's all I have. I've nothing else. But we did see some of the comments and the pictures in our Discord, and well, I imagine there's still many sore heads in our studio audience. So yeah, congratulations to Liverpool, Liverpool. So 2020 was the last time. But sure, I can't even remember that. When was the last time before that, Muse? I'm asking the wrong fella for these factoids. But anyway. Right, Tipperary, I'm telling you, 93, I think. Yeah. Did they even win it in 93? The Premier League started in 92. And Man United dominated it. And then we said, I speak, Then United kind of said, right, we've done enough. We won the double-double, then we won the treble-treble, then they won the... I keep saying we. Like I had nothing to do with it. I was the 12th player. Yes. But anyway... football, congratulations and well done to everyone involved. I don't really watch soccer. They shaggin' ruined soccer for me when they went to South Africa with these vuvuzelas. Remember them stupid things? And then, soccer went from being like a good sport to, my eyelash, I need to lie down, quick. Call medical evacuation with a helicopter. What happened to him? I think I've maybe made a small indent on a fingernail. Call the match off. It got terribly soft and silly. So that's why I don't watch it. But those who do watch it, well, best of luck to you, right? You need to start watching a real sport, A bit of GAA now, or some of the rugby maybe, or wrestling, It always works. But anyway, no football and politics. Yes, Will, I'm very good. Yeah, we shan't mention the football. But to those who follow Liverpool, I've been to Liverpool many times, and they are the most passionate bunch when it comes to football. So great to see. And the celebrations and all the crack that was had, it looks absolutely fantastic. However, bringing us back around in a weird behind the anti-clockwise kind of a way, well, tonight we're here all about some ATC. And it's going to be a fair bit. We've updated the ground school document. Many thanks to the Limbics, who managed to decipher my ramblings on paper, typing things, up to like 70,000 words. Very sad. But that's where we're at. So that's all updated for us now over on the website. And we'll be taking a closer look to see what happens. I'm hoping for a bit of ATC coverage. We should get it. I hope. Otherwise, this is going to be very interesting. But we'll see how we get on, right? Right, who's here in the chat, look, on a Monday? It's almost May. Right, summer, well, no, it's not quite summer, but like May, it's all happening now. Who's here in the chat, look? CP65, happy Monday, hope you're keeping very well. Dougal McTavish, the chairman, has rumbled in. Good to see you, Dougal, hope all is well. Vacuum is here, rookie pilot, good to see you. Crafty Tigers, very happy Monday. Jack M, hello. Lead Ballooner, another Monday, nearly over. Indeed it is. The impossible face. Balls. I forgot to pop over the road for milk, he says. Jesus. Tea with no milk. Super Typhon, welcome aboard. Little Trader is here. APU Inspector, good to see you. Rohan Productions. I got Spanish speaking tomorrow. Nice. Spanish. They don't do an awful lot of Spanish over here in secondary schools. Sure they don't. Naughty Gnome is in the house.
Sleepy, nighty, snoozy, snooze.
Naughty Gnome, it's good to see you. Come here. Have you the Apple Watch 10 or do you have the Ultra? I went into Harvey Norman on Saturday. And there I had the Ultra and the 10 in each hand. Now the Ultra is a little bit bigger. It's more rugged. It's more kind of, but it's also a hefty price tag. And I came that close to trying to persuade myself and the missus. But we walked out of Harvey Norman's with nothing. I know. Very hard to do these kind of days, lads. But sure, listen, you had the 9, now you have the Ultra. Beat the Janie Mac. Right, yeah, they're very nice. Very nice. Malky Mac is here, good to see you. Fierce Wolf looking fierce. And Wolfie, welcome aboard. Idle Cutoff. Evening Murph. Cambridge calling. Hello from Tipperary. You're looking well. Good to see you, man. Viper Strike is here. He was flying in Wisconsin earlier, or yesterday, visiting Green Bay, Oshkosh, Madison, and Milwaukee. Nice. Max Stallion, very good to see you. Mrs. TPHI. Welcome aboard. Good to see you here on Twitch. Filthy, welcome in, man. Stick Figures in the house. Hello, Murph and fellow flyers of fake planes. You're very welcome aboard. I've been driving fake cars this evening, says the impossible face. Jesus. 30 streams in a row. Good man yourself, Viper Strike. Thank you very much indeed, man. Really do appreciate it. Mac Vision is here. Good to see you. Spitfire Orf 100 is here in the chat. Happy Monday. Proby Pete is here. He says, good day, Murph and Fireflies from Arizona. Hello from Tipperary. You're looking well. Is it nice in Arizona? Super Ty, thank you for the 30 streams in a row. That's insane, lads. Malky Mac, 3 in a row. He says, time to grab a coffee and settle down to some learning. Ah, yes, it's all ahead of us. Shuffle Shoes shuffles in. AJH John, happy Monday. Willem says, good evening, Monday peoples. Let's study the circus. Welcome in, Willem. You're looking well. Jesus, Max Stallion, 70 streams in a row, look. 70. Thank you very, very much indeed. Schutz.
Hello there.
Hello, Schutz. You're looking mighty. Tarnish Mossman, 3 streams in a row. Yeah, baby. Tarnish Mossman, a Liverpudlian. You're very welcome in. Mac Vision with 5 in a row. Cheers, man. All is well in the realm. Yeah, sorry, lads. I was pressing buttons when we started there. Sometimes my Dolby Atmos sound gadget doesn't work right, and I just get, like, it blares through my head. I'd be like, what's the sound? You know? And then it calms down again when I press some buttons. It's science. Jesus. There's buttons on a Monday night, look. What's going on? We'll need to get to all this in a second. It's gone from mad to crazy mad. Thank you very much indeed. There's stuff happening. Where are we at? We're over here, look. Someone was messing, says Schutz. AIM in 1973. It's like summer in England. It's the same here. It was like 17 or 18 degrees. It was lovely. Good to see you, Eamon. Commander Balosh is here. 7 months with Prime. He says, good evening. Happy Monday. How is your bird problem doing? Not great, Commander Balosh. Not great. I was thinking about getting a Claymore mine, but, you know, that's probably exaggerating things ever so slightly. But, right, I thought about it, though. Maybe a good old-fashioned Claymore mine. That'll sort it all out, you know. Probably take the Skoda with it, though. But anyway, Muse Fan is here. Bursts into the door with his elbow, holding his head, going, Jay! He says, how he is, lads? Good to see him, Muse. Hope all is well. Led Ballooner, 30 in a row. Thank you very much indeed. Expecting to see Murph in a Liverpool shirt. Rubbish. That'd never happen. In the real world, Jesus. Z Fox, the hard stuff, he says. I don't know if the brain can figure. Wait, how do I know what an ILS is? Be grand, we'll figure it all out together. Out here in the suburbs is out there in the suburbs. You're very welcome aboard. The Impossible Face, good to see you. 5 streams in a row. It's learning the clock. Indeed it is. Sarah Doman, good to see you. Proby Pete, tier 2 for 6 months in advance. Advance, not advance. Advance. Roby Pete, thank you very, very much indeed. That is insane support. Really do appreciate it, my guy. Old Veteran 965. Scott, you're very welcome in. Happy Monday. JP Signups is here. Good to see you. Alison, welcome in. Farewell to another Monday. Yes, yes. We wave at it with graceful, gracefulness. Good luck to you, Monday. You can shag off. Anyway, all is well. Over here now, look. Z Fox, yes, welcome in, welcome in. Retriever Neil, 5 in a row. Good man yourself. No Liverpool shirt, unsubscribes, says Muse Fan. Muse, there's method behind me madness, right? I mean, did you ever try and pack a sleeping bag into a small bag? Right, because a good hard mental image of that now, Muse. Same colour and complexion and everything. I don't do sportswear, like, at all, right? The closest thing to sportswear I get is a pair of runners, or trainers as they're more, colloquially known. No, sportswear with me, are you for real? Right. Do stuff and things, Z Fox. Yes, many stuff with things. Old Veteran, Jesus, tier 2, 52 months. Old Veteran says, it's Murphy, it's Monday. He's going to show us how to fly IFR with controllers. Listen, right, it'll be grand. It'll be nothing to worry about at all, Scott. But thank you very, very much indeed. 52 months. Insane support, Scott. Thank you very much indeed. Flying Tonight is here. Tier 1 for 4 months. Thank you very much, man. Good to see you. Hope all is well. Heisenberg is here. 6 months at a tier 1. Be the gob. Thank you very much. Lads, thank you very, very much indeed. It's insane. It's insane support. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to spend any sort of commission now buying... I'm going to buy the original non-silicone wood silk adjacent product for removing bird droppings off a Skoda. Actually, would that... Wait now. Contains no silicone and no water, which may affect your furniture's finish. It says furniture polish, right? And it does say wood silk. But I wonder, could you put it on...
Monday is the new Friday, thanks to Two-Toner Murphy.
I wonder, could you put it on a car? I know it says wood, but sure, this doesn't know what is going on. Do you know what I mean? So good to ask you. Sorry, sir, you do believe that's not wood? Oh, Jesus. Oh, no, I'm not breaking it. Hang on. Oh, Jesus. Right. Get in there now. I wonder, could I put that on the car? That could work. It is for wood, but sure, listen, you know what I mean? Sure, the Skodas are built out of wood as well, you know, and brawn and steel and iron and, you know, all the masculine things. Right. Now we're over here, look, powerless in Spain. Yeah, lads, did you hear that today or see that today? Spain and Portugal, due to some strange atmospheric phenomenon, they've lost electricity. I can only put it down to, is it simulating something like a friggin' EMP? All the power's gone until, you know, they restore it. Something to do with the sun, isn't it? And yeah, bits of France as well. What's going on there? Jesus, lads. Paddy had his first day on the job. This is the Spanish grid. Yeah, very good, yeah. Hang on. Right. Jesus. I hope everyone's keeping well if you're in that neck of the woods. Right. I saw the reports. They don't want people travelling. So there's no traffic lights or anything. Do you know? Mad what's going on. There was a young lad from Nantucket. Or was that Limerick? Stick figure, good to see you. Fresh target. Wait, what? Turner says, get a fake owl, Merv. Get a fake owl. A fake owl, you say. You need to mount an owl on the car's roof. Oh, wait, get an owl for the birds. And now, hang on. Gullible now, right? Are you telling me if I just go off into the woods, find myself an owl, convince the owl to come back? Ooh. No, come on. Ooh, come on this way, right? That the other birds will say, oh, Jesus, look, wow, your man's after getting an owl. Right, that's the end of that, so we need to find someone else's car. Is that going to happen? Imagine if it did. They make fake owls. A fake owl? A fake owl. Say it fast enough. I played that already. I played that one already. Jesus, lads, we played all the songs. Oh, wait! The Dougal song, we'll play it. Well, I'll be damned. Brilliant. Fake owls, right. Excellent. It's the first time Murph had a bird problem. Brilliant. Was only 10 minutes late and he's already on a level 2 hype train. It's absolutely nuts, Stu. Welcome in, man. Some say your Skoda is like Tesla to us humans. Wait, who? They're just showing the Skoda what they think of it. Muse, you've ruined your own joke. Brilliant. Fantastic. Jesus. Old veteran 965 gifting 5 tier 1 subs to the community. Scott, thank you very, very much indeed. You absolute ledge. Lads, if you just got a tier 1 sub, but thanks to old veteran, well, do be sure to say thank you. It's not the first time Murph has had bird problems. Yeah, you got there in the end, Muse. Come on yourself. Brilliant. Now, let me see. Where is this now? Jan the UA. Full staffing will be provided for this flight out of Boston from 4 p.m. Eastern. What time is that, Jay? In old money. Oh, is that 9 o'clock Irish? I think it is. The cat scratched me on my hand, lads. Look. Right there, look. You can't really see it. Hang on, can we zoom in there? Hang on. Oh, Jesus, I'm pressing 2, so... You can't see it, right? Because you got me a good owl, you know. I nearly bled out. Right, look at it. Jesus, I nearly bled out. 20 Zulu, that's 9 o'clock. Which is, we may keep... Right, we'll have to go fast here, lads. 11 seconds required. Right. Where's all my buttons? Oh, yeah, they're over here, look. Right, quick. Chicken Kiev. Chicken Kiev is nice. Right, no more green shirt, Mrs. TPHI. None at all. Well, it's upstairs. Well, it's in the wash. It's drying. It's out of the wash. Filthy says, if Mrs. Two-Tone can make a meal like that with her current kitchen, imagine what she could do with a brand new one. Tima is here 5 streams in a row. Welcome aboard, man. Good to see you. Liverpool won it before the 2019 season. Come on, Viper. Many cross the pond hangovers. Did you see the amount of people crossing the pond there on Saturday? Jesus, lads. Absolutely incredible stuff. Incredible. Cyrus T is in the house. Welcome aboard. The man of teal. Hope you're well. Stu Snape says Leeds were the last team to win the top tier before the Premier League was created. Really? Jesus. Flying Tonight says still simless. I forgot how to fly, but IFR learning is still to be done. Theory for the win. Indeed. Yes. Right, where's this now? 5 streams in a row, Stu. Thank you very much indeed. Apocalypse, please. You're very welcome in. I'm going to learn ATC from the Aegis. It'd be grand. Graham is here. Good to see you. Soaring AJ. Welcome aboard. John C is here. Gaseous Maximus. Welcome aboard. May. You mean I'm almost 40? Z-Fox. Snap. I'm 40 in May as well. Jesus. Agent Preston, good to see you. Toto's in the house. I had the 9 and now the Ultra. Aha. Ultra is only if you're outdoors kind of person. Energizer, good to see you. And good evening. Yes, I like. He's nice. Yeah, I'm an outdoors person. Sure. I talk about it a lot. Clem, the pilot, good to see you. Clem, the A350. English, I'll try that again. Clem, the A350 pilot, is here. Clem, how are you, man? I hope you're keeping well. Patrick Doyle is in the house. Proby Pete then, 5 gifted tier 1 subs to the community on Twitch. Thank you very, very much indeed, Proby Pete. And lads, if you did get a tier 1 sub, thanks to Proby Pete, do be sure to say thank you very much indeed. Incredible. 20 degrees here tomorrow. Tomorrow's to be warmer. Yeah, where is this weather coming from? Zybok Doc calling from Denmark. Hello from Tipperary. Hope you're well. Martell is here. Welcome aboard. Natco, 3 in a row, man. Thank you very much indeed. Avance, is that a place in Spain, right? Where's your Bush Tucker shirt? Bush Tucker. Time for the green shirt. It's in the dryer. Creo, good evening. Hope all is well. Patrick Doyle, that's brilliant. One Fly Air, happy Monday. Spain, Portugal, and bits of South France, yeah. Isn't it mad? If they're in the neck of the woods, Murph, they ain't watching with no electric.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, that makes sense, Dougal. Unless, of course, they're on battery and they have, like, satellite. Hello, friends, watching on satellite. Never thought of that too. You see, that's why I'm not in charge. In a Box Man is here. Good to see you. I had the car under a tree in the sun. It dried like Weetabix. Oh, Jesus, QC Frank, good to see you. What about the Wasp? Have you dealt with them? No. I've decided to wait before I go on that particular... What's that thing called? An adventure, but it's not an adventure. A quest. I've waited. See, we got there eventually. We'll wait before we start that quest, right? Yeah, they're telling us what they think of the Skoda. Retriever Neil, welcome in. Murph does do a good impression of a pigeon. Yeah, what does an owl sound like? I can't remember. That was like a pigeon. The pigeons sound like that in Tipperary. Yeah, we've terribly pigeon-sounding owls. No, wait, owls that sound like pigeon. Pigeon. On the little hand, yes. Oh, Jesus. Right. Let's, right. Half an hour in now. It'd be grand. Super tie, 27 minutes. Oh, Jesus. In a Box Man, 5 in a row. Thank you very much indeed, man. Right. Patrick Doyle, 58 is the new 40. Is it? Doing quite well. I won't be joining you tonight, unfortunately. I'm reinstalling my entire PC, full Windows reset, so I'm getting my sim set up again, says Clem, the A350 pilot. Jesus, Clem. Have at it. Tilting at windmills. Who? Right. Greetings from Wisconsin. 2 dogs. Good to see you, man. Right, we're nearly there now. The Boston lads, I need it 1 hour from now, but we'll see how we go, right? Anyway, who's here? Look, Mr. TPHI, omnipresent, both Twitch and YouTube. Black Sheep Gene, good to see you, Gene. Northland Air is here. I'll do Char, good evening. Steve, welcome aboard. Sunny Tenerife, hello from Tipperary. Marty K, good to see you. Tritz 4, welcome in, man. I guess we're all enjoying ourselves too much. I'm sorry to say, you are a guilty party. Yes, indeed. Alan Black, good to see you. Black Sheep Jean says, you had chicken for dinner, that's why the birds are bombing you. They're angry birds. Oh yeah. Yellowstone is a sport. It kind of is. Swishy, welcome aboard. Swedish for your pilot, welcome in, man. And Zappa says, good afternoon. You're very welcome in, lads. Great to see everyone. Very happy Monday. And we better get started now, you know. People be giving out. Your man Murphy doesn't do much, does he? Not really. Right. Come on over here now, we get started, lads. Right, so, Jesus. Fix the microphone. There we go. So what we're doing tonight, friends, we're using this beautiful aircraft, the TBM 850, and as I said, we've a bit of stuff to kind of get through here, right? So we'll do it the old-fashioned way. We'll start at the very beginning. Uniform Goose, 6 months on flight crew. Thank you very, very much indeed, man. Really do appreciate it. You're absolute ledge, I say. Big Carlo, welcome in. Right, lads, so what we're going to have a look at here, we're going to have a look at our updated ground school document, but we're also going to bring these guys into play first. So our plan tonight, we're going to start off on the IFR 1. It's the WINGS IFR 1. It's an introduction to instrument flight rules. So to kind of circle things back, we were flying under visual flight rules, meaning that it's once we know what to do in terms of the airspace we're flying around, right? Don't enter certain airspaces or TFRs because, well, if we do, we need permission or we need to establish two-way radio communications. But everything else we're not really worried about. I mean, we can fly pretty much anywhere under visual flight rules, provided we can see where we're going. And there's sufficient cloud clearance, known as VFR minimums, distances from the clouds, or anything that's going to obstruct our vision, right? Relatively straightforward, but it's also way more complex. And I genuinely mean that. VFR flying is genuinely more complex. There's a much higher level of skill required when it comes to kind of navigation and flight planning and all that sort of jazz. VFR requires an awful lot more. When it comes to IFR, not as much. And the reason being is an IFR flight plan, instrument flight rules, you're following designated waypoints and also designated altitudes, and you're always going to be in contact with ATC at some stage because they are controlling IFR traffic. That's how it works in the real world. There might be some limitations when we're using our simulators. It depends if certain areas are staffed with ATC controllers, but then that's where, you know, your say intentions come in, and they'll kind of, you know, they'll carry the whole experience through before or after there's ATC staff, right? I mean, that's what say intentions can do, and it's a wonderful tool for that because it does have automatic handoff and also receive. It's all built into the product. However, what we want to focus on now is understanding the IFR system when it comes to flying in the United States. So just like any IFR flights we've done before, well, we know slightly different rules. We need clearances, okay? So our route, we need to be cleared to fly a particular route, all right? And then we'd be flying on instrument departures and instrument approaches. Therefore, we're using our instruments to capture this information to help us fly along. Now we have, what's the word I'm looking for? We have precision and also non-precision aids to help us along. So, you know, a precision landing, the likes of an ILS, we'd be using an instrument landing system. And if you had a non-precision, we can have a look at them as well. But primarily, we're going to be looking tonight, especially, we're going to be looking at a precision landing, which is that of the instrument landing system. All right. Now, we'll read a bit of this introduction to let us know what the crack is. What we're doing today, well, we're going to be departing Boston and arriving to Boston using a standard instrument departure, also known as a SID, and an instrument landing approach, an ILS approach. And the focus here is on proper compliance with the Logan departure, listening and responding to ATC instructions, and flying the ILS approach successfully. All right? Yeah, a lot of GPS, absolutely, Willem. You've RNAV and all this stuff now, looking after GPS, way more precise. But you have to kind of learn old school before we can get into the new school stuff. But it is very interesting. All right. So a few of the Wings flights will also provide a few reminders that only apply to the simulator environment. If you're ready to read through the orientation pages, the information should be familiar to you, right? As a reminder, Wings is all about operating within the ATC system. The program isn't designed to teach you how to fly your aircraft or how to set up your sim. If you're looking for information on installing downloads, configuring the pilot clients, that's your audio and your ATC, well, check out their orientation page or go back to our ground school document, back into the contents, and you're going to see how everything Wi-Fi, connectivity, sim sound, model matching. We go through it in a lot of detail of how to get yourself up and running. All right. So the ground school document, as I said, we're up to page 288. Version 8.1 is now available over on the website, and we're starting tonight on phase 2. This is all our IFR stuff. All right. We'll go back to that now in a moment. Anyway, if you're on X-Plane, Mr. X does some incredible Boston scenery, or indeed if you're here in Microsoft Flight Sim, Fly Tampa do an excellent Logan Airport, really nice. So now that we're happy enough-ish using our visual references, our visual flight rules, right, charts and calculations to navigate from one airport to another, well, it's time to get our head in the clouds. Welcome to the IFR portion of the Wings over New England, and for a great introduction to IFR, including flight planning SIDs, ODPs, clearances, routes, and more, well, they have an IFR procedure ground school. So if you click on this opens up an entire seminar, if you like.
And welcome to Boston Virtual ARTCC's IFR Clearances Ground School.
So it's a full ground school here. That's Evan's voice, by the way. You guys know Evan from the Flight Sim Association and FS Expo. Evan goes through a 40-minute IFR Clearances Ground School seminar, if you like. Well worth the watch. There's tons of information in that, and the link you'll find it is on the Wings page. All right. Flying IFR completely different than a course in VFR, as air traffic control is largely responsible for keeping IFR aircraft separated from other traffic and terrain. As a consequence, IFR flights must closely follow air traffic control instructions, such as assigned headings, altitudes, and speed restrictions. They're not able to navigate and change cruising altitudes at will. As an introduction to IFR, this rating will have you remain at Boston and complete one ILS approach, basically the IFR version of a traffic pattern. All right? Another major difference between IFR and VFR occurs because the aircraft even starts before the aircraft even starts moving. IFR flights require a specific clearance before ever leaving the gate or the ramp. They need to be cleared to do anything, right? Generally, an IFR clearance tells pilots what to expect during a flight, and it contains critical information for the departure phase, especially the departure. While dealing with IFR clearances, they might seem somewhat daunting. However, they all follow the very same structure, and it's called craft. We call it craft for short, right? Now, anyone familiar, we also have the IFR clearance checklist. It's available over on the website. That gadget here, right? You may have seen it before. You can print these out. It's a digital product. I charge $1 or €1. Can't remember what. And if you did these courses before when we were giving them away for free, well, sure, you should have it, right? But anyway, that entire check sheet is designed for IFR flight. It's designed for it because it gives you your clearance as craft. But if you don't have that and you don't want to part with your hard-earned cash, what I'd recommend everyone do now, right? You included, yes, you with the face. Get a bit of paper, all right? And I want you to write down on a sheet of paper, craft. And I'll show you how I want you to write it, because I'm going to type it here so you can see what the crack is, right? Open up an owl Documente, Murph. We'll open up a Word page. I want to show you this. You all need to do this. So we're going to start with C or A F T. I want you all to have that on your page. C or A F T. Because when it comes to your clearance, this word, craft, this is everything you need. C stands for your clearance, right? All right. You are cleared to. Or, anyone tell me what or is? Think about it now. Think of the phraseology. You are cleared to wherever you're going. So cleared to destination, right? Route, Malky Mac, your route. Now, what do they mean by route? This could be as filed or via, Hotel 6, then as filed, right? Cleared to destination as filed or via Hotel 6, whatever that's going to be, right? And you know what A stands for? Altitude, right? Altitude. So they would say something like, climb and maintain, let's say, for example, 5,000. And then they do something mad in America. They'll say something like, expect flight level 150 10 minutes after departure. And we need to spend a little bit of time on this because this tends to trip people up a little bit. What we're saying here is, in Europe, we'll always get a limit. We'll get a climbing limit, right? So in Dublin, for example, you'll hear something like, initial altitude, flight level 9 or 0. All right. Flight level 180, no. 250, right? Great point, though, that Malky Mac is saying. Why would you not say flight level 150 in America? Think about it, right? So remember, can you see that? Yeah. So in Europe, you have altitudes in feet, yeah? Until you have what's called the transition level. And in Europe, yeah, or ICAO, it depends on the airport or region. Are we happy enough? In the United States, very different. The transition level is set for the entire country. And that is flight level 180 or 18,000 feet. Yeah. meaning you don't use the terminology flight level until you get to the flight level. In this case, it's going to be flight level 180. Okay? That's just a little bit of didgeridoo until we're, oh yeah, it makes sense, right? That's why the transition level defaults to 18,000 in Microsoft Flight Sim in your FMS. Not only in Flight Sim, some have a standard barrow. They have a button that when you press standard, it defaults back to 299 or 2. Yeah? So that's known as standard. Yeah? Standard barrow pressure goes in there. But anyway, that's what they mean by that. So it's actually Malky Malk, you know your stuff. So you don't refer to a flight level, because that catches people out as well. Climb to flight level 003. What's he doing? He's going to 300 feet. That sort of crack, okay? Also, Englewood, yes. So when we talk about a QNH 1013, they would only use inches of mercury in the United States, meaning that your barrow pressure will be in inches of mercury. So 29 9 or 2 or 3010. We use QNH hectopascals. That's mainly in Europe. So in the States, it's always going to be millibars, 9 or 2. All right. Grand. Anyway, let's go back. So altitude, climb and maintain 5,000, expect flight level 250, 10 minutes after departure. Does anyone know what that means? Expect flight level 250, 10 minutes after departure? Does that mean, do I climb to flight level 250 after 10 minutes? Or if it's now 12 minutes, does he need to give me a new clearance limit? Right? Does all these questions come into it? There's a reason for this. According to the FAA, if you lose radio communications, right? If you lose radio communications, you're getting an expected flight level after your time for departure. More importantly, because ATC have given you an initial climb and maintain or initial climb or climb to, right? Because they're giving you the initial altitude, they know that's not your final altitude. They know that. So they're letting you know, expect a further climb, right? 10 minutes after departure. And why do they do that, lads? Bob Ross time. Think about it. Think about the airspaces that we covered before, all right? So let's say, for example, this is where you're taking off from the runway. Here's your runway down here, all right? And what happens when you take off, you need to go further and further and further and further away before you can start climbing, correct? So what ATC do is, they'll get you to climb to a certain level and they'll hold you at this level until you're further away from the airport, and then you can head on up. That makes sense? Because what happens is, because you have multiple aircraft either approaching or flying over, but they can't let you climb straight up and straight out. We're not like rockets. Do you know what I mean? Story Girl, good to see you. Australia transitions are at a constant altitude of 10,000 feet. We have fewer tall things to fly into than the US. There you go. Brilliant. 10,000. Never knew that. Thank you for that. Thank you very much, Story Girl. So yeah, so that's why they don't give you, now they could give you something like, climb now or climb and maintain whatever flight level. They can get you straight out of there, depending on the aircraft, depending on ATC. But most of the time, they'll give you an initial altitude, and they won't say initial climb or initial altitude. They will tell you climb and maintain. It's a different phraseology. It means the same thing. Climb and maintain that altitude that we've just given you, and then you can expect a further climb in about 10 minutes. But you don't climb without them telling you. Fair enough? Fair enough. Right, we continue on. Anyone know what F stands for in our craft wordage, right? So we have clearance, route, altitude. What do we do who do we talk to? Frequency, exactly, right? So your frequency. Now your frequency, they could say anything. They could say, departure frequency with me, or departure frequency 122 decimal or 0.6, or, Boston Center, or, you know what I mean? They'll give you your frequency, all right? And the very last bit of the jigsaw, anyone know what the T stands for? T for tango. What does the T stand for? If anyone knows, all answer together. Local departure frequency is 128.27, yeah. Not takeoff. So your T would stand for your transponder. Transponder. And what they mean by transponder is, that's going to be your squawk code, yeah? That's going to be your squawk code. Over in the US, they usually say over to departure, you have to know the frequency. Yeah. But again, you'll get that usually in the ATIS or your initial clearance. So in your initial clearance, that's what they're going to tell you. So departure on 122, they'll always confirm that. They should confirm that on your initial clearance. All right. Like tower or approach or whoever, they'll tell you to go to the next center, but you should have that frequency already previous. You should have previous to that. Now, we're on Flight Sim, so we're going to see who's online, right? We're going to see, who's the next station. That makes sense? So when it comes to your squawk code, they will issue you with a squawk code. So let's have a look down to it, or through it. Clearance to destination. Okay, so we know besides C, where we leave it blank, that's what we're going to say, clear to destination. Route as filed, or they could say something like, cleared to Boston via the Hotel 6 departure, then as filed. They'll say something like that. Climb and maintain 5,000. Expect flight level 250 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency on 122.6. Squawk 6461. Now, the beauty about this, lads, and if you build this into your head, this is where it becomes easy to respond to ATC, because you're writing it down the very same way you're going to repeat it. So you'll say, okay, November 235 Romeo Mike is clear to Boston via the Hotel 6, or, runway. They'll probably put in the runway 9er, clear to destination, runway 9er as filed, or whatever. And the reason why they might say, if it's as filed, it means your flight plan that you have, it works. It's absolutely fine. If they don't say that, if they say, clear to your destination via the SID or Hotel 6, or they might give you some waypoints. The reason being is because it's ATC, and because things are more busier in the United States, but they're going to change things. ATC need to change things a lot more frequently than what we're used to in Europe, right? So that happens quite a bit. So just be careful of that. You could file a flight plan and put in your star, or put in your SID, and think everything's grand. It may not be. And the reason why they're going to change it, they need to keep you away from other aircraft. It's called sequencing. Basically, keep you away from other traffic. So they'll change that for you. So be prepared to go, must be careful here. All right? So usually when you get your clearance, you have enough time to go back to your flight plan. The middle part of your flight plan, your en route waypoints, they should be grand, right? They should be grand. But anyway, altitude, climb and maintain, and then expect further clearance after that, maybe 10 minutes. Your frequency, that's going to be, departure is going to be on 1226, or tower on whatever, right? Frank, good to see you. And then your transponder, squawk 6461. So when we read it back, we're following the very same steps. Does that make sense? Grand. Now they put it in here as well, so we're not doing anything. We're not doing that new here, right? So when initially calling air traffic control for clearance, have a pen and paper ready so you can quickly jot down the clearance and ensure you read it back correctly. You will need the instructions contained in the clearance to properly set up your aircraft prior to departure, so don't simply read back the clearance without somehow storing its information and configuring your aircraft. The following is an example of a typical IFR clearance. King Air 38173 clear to the Bradley Airport via the Logan departure. Radar vectors BOSOX then as filed. Maintain 3000. Departure frequency 133.0. Squawk 1301. Done. All right. On SIDS and stars, the FAA denotes changes by updating the number. So when they say the Logan and then the hash key, right? How it works is the first version is going to be Logan 1, then it goes Logan 2, Logan 3, all the way up until it gets to Logan 9. After that, it resets, and then they go back to 1 again. The reason why they do that is there could be changes. There could be buildings, there could be change at the airport, there could be new traffic sectors, so they'll change it. That's where your AirAC data is important, all right? At Boston, aircraft that do not include a SID in their flight plan will be assigned either the Logan departure procedure or an equivalent ORNAV procedure for capable aircraft. Okay. SIDs may be found anywhere. Instrument charts are available, including on websites like AirNav, SkyVector. Of course, we get ours from Navigraph. All right. So if it's a non-standard departure, you may have heard that before. A non-standard departure, meaning that there is no SID, they'll give you a different procedure. It could be vectors, right? But it's usually they'll give you a fix, an initial fix, and then they'll vector you after that. All right? Right. Locate the Logan departure procedure page. 1 and 2 of the chart are both very important as they contain the actual departure instruction. Many pilots simply look at the diagram on the first page and they completely disregard the departure route description that follows, which is a major mistake. Major mistake. Now, the good thing with Navigraph, they add them all in. We'll have a look at that. On this particular departure, disregarding the description on page 2 will likely cause you to fly the procedure incorrectly. We don't want that, as it has a different set of instructions for jet and non-jet aircraft. Ooh, this is important. Jet aircraft have a visual depiction on page 1 and a detailed set of textual instructions on page 2 that differ based on the departure runway. On the contrary, non-jet aircraft only have textual instructions on page 2 and are independent of the departure runway, simply climbing a heading assigned by ATC. Therefore, if you were flying a non-jet aircraft and tried to follow the visual depiction on the page of the chart, you would fly the departure incorrectly. Additionally, page 2 lists the SID top altitude for both aircraft. So they're telling you this is the maximum altitude for the SID. ATC override that if they tell you. If ATC tell you to get to a certain altitude, unless the aircraft or you're unable, that's the altitude you go by. The SID, for example, might give you 5,000. ATC could hold you at 3,000 or they can send you up to 6,000. That's entirely up to ATC. So just because your charts say it, it's not verbatim. ATC can override that. Fair enough? If there's no ATC, stick to your charts. All right? On radar vectored SIDs like the Logan departures, ATC will issue a top altitude to maintain as part of the initial clearance. So ATC are going to give us a top altitude to remain at as part of your initial clearance. That makes sense? So they're going to tell us, climb and maintain that altitude. You're not going above it. However, on pilot nav SIDs, the phrase climb via SID, instructing you to climb to the published top altitude, may be used. Okay, so they might actually say climb via the SID. Okay, so they could give us the altitude or they might say climb via the SID. We need to know that because, well, it's not going to frighten us when they say it and we're like, what did he say? All right. This phrase requires you to interpret the SID and determine which altitude that you are cleared to climb. We'll do all this later on and I'll show you how it works, right? So let's open up some charts here, friends. And here we have in Navigraph, the Boston Logan, and we're going to go down to the departure. And this is the Logan departure. It's actually now called the Logan 4. Let's have a look. Here's a mad looking chart. What do we do? This is 2 pages smudged into 1 page. All right? All right. So what are we looking at on this page? What do we need, lads? What information do we need to follow? And I'll zoom in, so don't worry about that. All right? We need this information in here. That's telling us what it is. We need this information up here to make sure it's accurate and it's the current. Okay? We need to read in here. Takeoff minimums, we'll review that. Initial climb. Are we in a jet aircraft? Or are we in a non-jet aircraft? Does anyone need explaining regarding a jet versus a non-jet aircraft? Okay. Turboprop is not a jet. Let's just be clear. It shouldn't be. Last time I checked. All right. Some of the other stuff we need to know. This is good information. Our minimums. Takeoff minimums. So we're going to have a look through this. And don't worry if you can't see this. I'm going to zoom in here now in a moment. All right. So here's the map giving us a visual idea of what this is going to look like. But again, this map is primarily down for your jets. Vision jet is a jet. Yeah, it's a jet. So let's start having an old gawk at this to see what it's actually telling us, right? So we're looking up here at the top. We're looking for the date of the chart. Effective 30th November, 24th November 2023. It has not been updated since. This is the latest version. The advantages, of course, of being with someone like Navigraph, right? You can also get the charts from AirNav. The Logan 4 departure, clear as glass. We can see it. It's the Logan 4 departure. Okay. And does our runway, is the runway we're operating out of tonight on it? Yes, just is. All the runways are covered. Okay, so we've takeoff minimums. All right. Takeoff minimums, meaning we have to be able to have a certain amount of lift. We should be able to climb at a minimum speed, hence minimum. Otherwise, we can't fly out of here. So runway 9, I think it's going to be runway 9. We'll double check this. If someone wants to double check, I think it's runway 9 currently is active. So they're telling us 300 or 1.25 are standard with a minimum climb of 266 feet per mile to 300. Yeah, so 9 is live, right? That's fairly straightforward. We have an aircraft that's more than capable of climbing at 266 feet a minute. Your hot air balloon could be under pressure here. All right. All right. So that's your takeoff minimums. Yeah. Okay. Nothing. We don't need to worry here. That applies. Okay. What about takeoff obstacles? See takeoff obstacle notes, page 1030B1. We can find this down here. Reference 1030B1. We may not have it here. Star. Oh, sorry. SID 103B. So 1030B1, takeoff obstacles. Another chart here. Runway 9. Lighting 11 from DER, 150 right of center line, 17 MSL. All right, so they're telling us there's lights, yeah? Off the center line. Ships beginning on center line up to 65 meters or mean sea level. Tank left to center line. So they're giving you obstructions or obstacles in and around the runways. That's what you only have to just look at them. Just be aware of it. There's nothing here that's going to upset us. ATC aren't going to have us barreling off a runway, you know, that has a low crane that we're going to crash straight into. But this is where you start learning the facilities, okay? All right, that's fairly straightforward. Back in here now. Initial climb if you are a jet aircraft, and then your top altitude. If you're in a jet, this is important for you because your top altitude for a jet is going to be 5,000 feet. 5,000. Right? Let's have a look at this. If you're flying in a jet, climb on heading 092 degrees. That's your initial climb, 092 degrees. And if we have a look at this, blasting off from 09, you're going to look for your 092 degrees. Which is up here. That's where you're heading out. 092 degrees. That's your initial climb. Then they'll give you a vector, or they might get you direct to a certain waypoint. Make sense? Okay. So if you're in a jet aircraft, your initial climb is going to be 092. Now, because you're using that runway and you're facing out towards the sea, right? It's very unrestrictive. As in, yeah, just belt on out there. Don't worry too much about it. If you were using a different runway, you can see where it gets different. Climb on heading 141 degrees to 1 DME from Boston, then turn left heading 120. So you can see the way, well, it's way more restrictive when you're flying over busier airspace and urban areas. Jesus, right, take off. I'm now 1 mile, hang a left. Do you see what I mean? And your charts will say this. So we have to review the charts, all right? Right, what about our non-jet aircraft? I'm taking the TBN, so I'm not going to worry about that. It says here, climb on assigned heading. Okay, so what's that telling us if we're in a non-jet aircraft? Climb on an assigned heading. Our assigned heading is going to be issued by ATC. If for whatever reason they don't assign us a heading, you default to the runway heading. That's it, because you're climbing on the assigned heading. If they didn't assign you a heading, you climb on the runway heading, straight out. Yeah? That's what it does. Climb on assigned heading. Now we know that the jets, when they take off, they're going to head on 092 degrees. Right? Yes, this one here, 1 nautical mile of BOS. The BOS that they're referring to here is not the airport. If you were to do a waypoint check and find out what BOS is the Boston VOR. I think that's what ZFox is saying, yeah? So where you see BOS, that's not the airport. How would you know if they were talking about the airport, lads? What might that ICAO code refer to? It'll come up at, it'll come up as KBOS, won't it? That's how you'll know. Yeah, it'll come up as KBOS. It'll say KBOS. If Murphy could spell. Yeah? Do you understand? BOS is not KBOS. So we just need to just be aware of that. Grand Daniel, good evening. All right. Our routing, it says here, expect radar vectors to assigned route, navigate, or fix. This is important. Expect radar vectors. What's a radar vector? Does anyone know what a radar vector? What's a vector? We need vectors, Victor. Anyone know what a vector is? A vector is a direction that we're going to get from ATC. Now, what's another word for a direction? A heading. Yeah, it's a heading. So you're going to either head on a particular route, a navigate, or a fix. We shouldn't need to clarify any further. They're going to say, fly 090 degrees, or they might fly direct to, a particular navigate, right, or a waypoint. Yeah. Jet aircraft maintain 5,000 or lower assigned altitude. Okay. So only if they're given a lower assigned altitude. Non-jet aircraft maintain 3,000 or lower assigned altitude. Expect clearance to filed altitude or flight level within 10 minutes after your departure. That makes sense. So if you're in the jet aircraft, maintain 5,000 until you're told to. Now, you can expect to be told to in about 10 minutes after departure. They're making it very, very clear. All right? Now we have a look at these. These are the different SIDs. So is it the blaze of departure? Expect vectors on the VOR radial 273. DME is required. DME means distance measuring equipment. You need to know how far you are from or to a specific waypoint. Yeah. The Braun departures. Expect vectors on the Boston VOR radial 159. DME required. The Celtic departures. Expect vectors on the Boston radial 114. So you're reading all the information from the chart. So, if you're flying in a jet aircraft tonight for this flight, right? Well, you're going to get your departure. You're going to fly in a heading of 092 degrees, thinking the maximum altitude you can climb to is going to be 5,000 because it states it on the chart. Your top altitude is 5,000. However, be aware, ATC might change that. All right? If you're in a non-jet aircraft, you're going to climb on your assigned heading, which it could be after takeoff, right turn 060 or left turn 060. So we need to watch for that. Our top altitude is 3,000 unless they give us something different. We happy enough? So far, does it make a little bit of sense? Grand. That's our departure. That's the first bit of the jigsaw. The suggested aircraft is going to be a small jet or a turboprop. Fair enough. This information here, an example using the Logan departure from 3.3. That's just telling you what you're going to be doing. ATC are going to tell you otherwise. So you climb and maintain 5,000 on your heading from the runway. That's grand. It's got all the information. We won't worry about that. You may not begin a turn on course or climb above the altitude assigned to your initial clearance until you're told to. So don't do that. Only do what they tell you. The suggested aircraft, as we say, however, if you're relatively new to IFR, it is suggested you attempt this rating in a non-jet aircraft. It slows things down a little. In a jet, you have a lot of complex systems. It might make things a little bit awkward. Pick something a little bit slower. All right? This flight also introduces the instrument landing approach. The ILS is one of the most common types of approaches, and it is the standard for almost all major airports. The advantage of the ILS approach is that the precision approach, meaning it will include both vertical and lateral guidance. This is the most important thing. A lot of approaches will give you the lateral guidance, and by lateral, that's the same as your GPS in your car. That's a lateral guidance system. Drive that direction, turn right, turn left. That makes sense? Once you start getting the vertical information, it becomes a precision, because they're going to say, well, this is your lateral sideways, but here's your vertical upsy downsies. Yeah. So once you have that, it means then it's more accurate. It's a precision approach, and you can operate at airports with even less visibility. That's the idea. All right. So if you ever want to know what they mean by lateral guidance, think of the GPS you have on your phone or on your car. That's lateral, lads. Yeah. All right. Effectively, the ILS is a cone into the aircraft or into which the aircraft flies, and it leads directly to the runway. While we have newer technologies such as your GPS, the ILS approach still offers some of the best and safest approaches in bad weather conditions. The problem with GPS, it can be a problem with GPS, weather could impact it. It can happen, right? So again, we go to Bob Ross here. So if we're saying, okay, well, here's a runway, right? I'm really crap at 3D drawing, but we'll give it a jazz, right? So here's your runway ahead of you, right? And basically what this does, it gives you this cone, yeah? So it does something like this. Right? Jesus, Murphy. That's 3D, third dimensions. You're flying into this cone because it's giving you your lateral, your left and right, yeah? This is your lateral, okay? But it's also giving you your vertical. And then you have additional visual aids as you get closer and closer and closer to the runway, usually by way of PAPI lights. Yeah? But at that stage, that's where you get into your minimums, as in, can you actually land now? Or is it going to be a category 2 or category 3? Worry about all that in another lesson. But that's what they mean by that. You're effectively flying into a cone to get you down onto the runway. Instrument, all right? Any questions so far? No? Yes? Let us know in the chat before we start moving on. Since the flight will be a short one, a good idea to review the approach chart before taking off. Checking the ATIS will let you know what you can expect. Most likely be the ILS approach. We want the ILS approach, all right? Future IFR flights will cover how to read and interpret approach charts in a lot more detail, but for the purposes of this one, let's keep it fairly straightforward. So let us have a look at our approach. So our approach is going to be the ILS. I think 4 right is active. We'll double check all this now in the ATIS. But if it's going to be an ILS for 4 right, well, same crack again on your chart. All right. You're going to see your ATIS. You're going to see your localizer. That's important. You need that for your ILS. Your final approach course. All right. And then you have your minimums. Decision altitude or decision height. Okay. They're important. If you can't see the ground at 200 feet, get out of there. You can't see the ground. Airport elevation is 19. You have deviation here as well. You can see where the VOR is. You have a missed approach. This is important. We need to read the missed approach because if things go wrong, we need to fix it. We can't just say pause. Is this real life as well or just for the sim? This is strictly for the sim, but it is following real life procedures. But this information is not applicable in the real world. The charts that we see, these Jeppesen charts for flight sim, these are tailored specifically for flight sim. You're missing a lot more information that real pilots have to deal with. These are, I don't want to say they're somewhat simplified, but they're targeted better for flight sim stuff. But they're very close, lads. They're very, very close, right? Right, missed approach. What happens if it goes wrong? If we can't land for whatever reason, there's an obstacle on the runway, our aircraft isn't fit to land because we've had an issue or we're not stable or we just cannot see the runway whatsoever. We need to go around. It's called missed approach because we're instruments. We can't see the ground. We're going to climb back to 3,000 feet on the Boston VOR radial 030 outbound, right? Until we get to the Waxen. Waxen is the Waxen is a hold. It's a waypoint. And see this D140? That's DME, distance 14 miles to the Boston VOR, and we hold. All right, effectively, climb to 3,000. We head on the Boston VOR radial 030 outbound. So we're flying away from the Boston VOR until we get to the waypoint Waxen, and we sit there and hold. All right. Apocalypse, yeah, just drop Muse or old veteran a whisper. They'll be able to pop it, or drop me a whisper. I'll be able to pop them in. All right. So we normally just give headings and altitudes. Okay, so at Boston, although there is a published missed approach, we normally just give headings and altitudes. This is so important as well. ATC will always advise you what to do. They might say, you know, fly the published missed approach, or they might give you something different. Remember, lads, the job ATC have to do is to keep you away from smashing into other aircraft and vice versa. That sequencing, it's so vitally important. What they say goes. End of story. The only time you might have conflict if ATC are requesting or instructing you to do something that is beyond the capability of your aircraft. And like, it's not because you don't feel like doing it. It's because, expedite climb, to 12,000 feet, minimum speed, or reduce speed to 120 knots. You could stall or increase speed to 250 knots. I can't go 250. That's where it goes beyond the capabilities of your aircraft, in which your quick reply is unable. All right, they'll think of something else. But it's vitally important that you're following what ATC are asking you to do. Their job is to steer you clear of problems. Simple as that. All right? Okay. Transition level, flight level 180, that's grand. Altitude set is in inches, so we know it's inches of mercury. RMP approach is from, GPS approach is from Goshi, that's another one, don't worry about that. DMA required, so these are the little points that they're putting in beside them. So distance measuring equipment is required. Simultaneous approach authorized. Anyone know what that means? Simultaneous approach? Simultaneous operations require the use of vertical guidance, maintain last assigned altitude until established on the glide slope. So you know the way we talk about you can be established on the localizer? You can capture the localizer, but the glide slope is the final little bit. That's where you'd say fully established. Now on that, do you report that you're fully established on the localizer when we're in the United States? Here's a question for you. So do you think you would have to report, I am fully established on the gadget? We do it in Europe all the time. You don't do it in the United States. It's not an automatic thing. You don't have to tell them, I am established on the localizer. They'll turn around and say, congratulations, you big idiot. And again, lads, try and use the common sense. The reason why you don't have to automatically do it is because they're busier. There's a lot more communication happening. However, if your last instruction, report when established, then you will report when you've established the localizer. That makes sense? So only when it's requested. Otherwise, you don't need to say it. In Europe, we tend to say it regardless. We tend to say it regardless, right? It's very much a partnership between ATC and a pilot. ATC recognise that they will need to give you a clearance that may not align to the chart, but as a pilot, you have the ability to say unable. Yeah, 100% Sean. If they tell you, correct. Mystic, good to see you. All right. Right, we continue on. So our approach here looks fairly straightforward. We can get vertical information here at the various waypoints, Goshi, Winnie, Nabo, Millet, mandatory. So you're going to see where the mandatory is going to be 6,000. Now these aren't going to apply to us in our little airplane. We're not going to be at that sort of level. We will, however, be at 3,000 feet. So Nabo, Milt, Ursu and all these, we'll have to look at these. We'll need to watch these. Our descent path is going to be 035 degrees. Most pappies are set for a 3-degree glide slope. This is 035, a little bit steeper, which makes sense. You're in a class Bravo. There's a lot of high buildings around. Makes sense, yeah? A little bit steeper. Ground speeds, again, for our aircraft, we'll probably just be chugging away at around 90 knots, give or take. All right. And then we have your straight and landings, or you're going to have more information when it comes to your decision altitude or decision height. Black Ice Gabe, Jesus Gabe, 3 months. Tier 3, man. Thank you very, very much indeed. Bloody hell. 45 months, Gabe. Thank you very much. But yeah, so what am I reading here? 035, 036 degrees, 035 degrees. Well, the runway sorry, that's the heading. That's the heading. So you can see where the feckin' glide slope 3 degrees. See it here? Murphy, you could just start highlighting the thing so it becomes easier. The glide slope 3 degrees. Yeah? This is a heading 035 magnetic because you're following the heading of the runway, right? And remember that your final approach course is 035. We've already noted that up there. That's your course, all right? But down here, this is where it might get a little bit tricky because depending on your speed, right, you might have to adjust. That's why most general aviation planes, you don't necessarily have to worry about the PAPI lights. You know, they'll always be red. You're always going to be under the glide slope because, well, you're a smaller aircraft, all right? Okay, this makes a little bit of sense. We can see the layout of the PAPI lights. We can also see the Boston VOR, the radial, right? This is for your missed approach stuff, yeah? And then maxing, that's where it's going to be. This is fairly straightforward. Let's see now, can we get some sort of an idea? How can we visualize this entire flight, how this flight is going to look? Okay, let's look at our departure once again. We know we're going to be taking off from runway 09er. We're going to climb that heading until ATC are going to tell us otherwise. All right. The chances are they'll turn us to the right. We're going to head south. Let's look at the map here, even with VF4 for the crack, just to give us an idea of what's happening. If we're departing from runway 09, which is here, lads, yeah, we're going to fly the runway heading until such a time ATC will start vectoring us. And they're going to vector us probably down the road. We can go night mode here. Probably down the road. And we'll be coming back in this direction for runway 4 right. We'll verify all this with our ATIS. Or they can take us all the way around to the left. It's up to ATC. They can give us a right turn, or they can give us a left turn. They can start us off going to the right, then they can turn us right again, and then left, and then right. It's up to them. They're going to vector us, okay? When we're coming into land here at 04, and it is 04 right, that's what we want to be landing on. This is where we need to start figuring out, right, once we land, because remember, our plan doesn't stop until we're back at the ramp. We need to find ourselves coming off this runway, but how are we going to get back down to parking? Yeah? So you want to be preparing yourself from the get-go. Now, Boston, it's a very busy airport. Some of the stands, if you're in the larger aircraft, it's actually easier because, you know, where does American go, where do Delta go, and so on and so on, right? So landing 4 right, we will probably, because we're in a TBM, so we should manage a left turn prior to crossing 3-3 left or 1-5 right. We should do. But if we don't, you know, we're going to be okay. We need to get back down here. So once we have that visual idea in our head, we're going to take off heading into the east.
Hello there.
We're going to be landing from the south facing north, and then we need to get to the west. All right? All right. Let's have a look. Air traffic control will not provide the approach information to you during the flight, so ensure that you're prepared ahead of time. Just like an IFR clearance, an approach clearance follows a specific pattern. This one, the acronym is called PTAC. Huh? Have a look at this. PTAC, your position, as in that's the distance from a fixed published on the approach. Turn, a final vector to intercept the approach course. Altitude, an assigned altitude to maintain until established on a published segment. And then your clearance, the actual clearance to fly the approach. So it'll sound something like this. November 235 Romeo Mike, 5 miles from Wayne, turn left heading 250, maintain 3000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS Runway 22 left approach. We're going to hear something like that. Something like that, all right? So we'll be familiar when it comes to our charts, you know, what are we actually looking at here in terms of waypoints, all right? Now, in there, we'll have a look. Jeez, the amount of nav aids. But we'll get the idea. After receiving an approach clearance, it's important to comply with the instructions immediately. If you slowly read them back, November 235 OBJ, that by the time you have it read back, you've now traveled a certain amount of distance. ATC are going to have to change what you're doing because you've taken too long. Remember, it's all about timing. You don't need to go back 100 miles an hour, you know, but don't take time doing this, because you would have gone through the localizer. You'd have gone past where they wanted you to do in the first place. This is where a little bit of multitasking pressure is applied. You have to do this quick. It has to flow, right? And this will only happen with training and practice. Practice, 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 all right? Although a regular practice in some parts of the world, pilots in the US should not report established on the localizer unless you are asked to do so. Very important. And when we feel ready to rock, jump onto Boston, submit your IFR flight plan. We now need to do that. File the top altitude that is appropriate to your aircraft type based on the Logan departure. Put direct in the route since you're receiving vectors for the entirety of the flight. And don't forget to include WINGS or IFR1. So let's go ahead and do this. Into their gadget here. Airline no. Flight number November 235 Romeo Mike. Departing from Boston. Arriving from to Boston. Aircraft type is a TBM 850. Check this out. So it's going to be 0904. Please, no, we're not doing that. So it's going to be Logan 4 and then direct. That's the route. Analyze the route. Here we go. Simple as. All right. And we can generate this flight. Fatal error when using identical. Oh, Jesus. It's not like that. Okay, well, let's. It doesn't like that, I'd say. Okay, we'll change it. This is only a quick workaround. What's Beverly, lads? KBVY, isn't it? That's just up the road. I'll change all of this because I just want, yeah, we'll change all this. So we're going to say, right, generate this flight. Hey, Larry, good to see you. Peas is a waypoint. Peas is a waypoint. What was it? PASE? Or no, PEASE. It's a waypoint. Yeah, but it's the one up in It's not, yeah, but it's not a waypoint we're using, lads. We're not going there. Heinrich, good to see you. Don't worry about that waypoint. We're not going there. All right. Right. Let me see. I'll show you here. I'll show you what I mean here in a second. Right. Flight plan, pre-file in the network. Right. Into VATSIM. And let's just change this ever so slightly so we can see what we're doing. Right. So November 235, IFR, TBM, equipment was grand, departure, arrival, go back to KBOS. Yeah. The alternate is KBOS. We're putting in direct. Yeah. Route details is direct. And we're going to put in WINGS IFR 1. All right. See that there behind me? This is following what they're telling us. So that's what we're doing. Right. So our call sign, our departure is Boston. Arrival is Boston. Yeah. Altitude is going to be 3,000. That's based on my aircraft. We'll probably call it 180 knots, nothing faster. Say 20 minutes to do this. We'll have sufficient fuel on board. Route details direct. And remarks WINGS IFR 1. Are we happy enough? For November 235 Romeo Mike with a TBM. File that. File plan has been sent. It's filed. Lovely. Now remember how all this is going to work. When we talk to ATC, we're going to be saying who we are, what do we want, what do we have, right? The additional information is all here. We get an outline, how to file your flight plan, and the differences between Europe and what we have. Best practices, usually file 15 to 30 minutes before you're going to go get flying. Just it's good practice. Double check all the waypoints. If you're flying a SID or a star, include it in your route if you know which will be assigned. If you're unsure, leave it blank. And then we get into SID stars and ILS approaches. What are they? How do they work? All this information is there in our ground school document for you. So if you're unsure, read through the gadget. You see the breakdown of craft. Yeah. And so on. Are we happy enough? Let's see what happens. It can only go wrong. It can only go wrong. All right. So we need to connect to the network. 1 second now. We're going to connect. We are November 235 Romeo Mike. We are ATM. TBM 850. And connect. We're connecting. Boston ground. Boston delivery. Super. So we should get an ATIS here now in a moment. All right. Wonderful. Just be ready to start writing and then populating your GPS. Yeah. Merv, some of us will have 210 nautical mile flight plans. Your direct will last minutes. Dougal, on your flight plan, right? If you're looking, hang on, we go back in here for a sec. If you're looking at the briefing, okay, just remember, your clearance, that's grand. On your Logan departure at Boston, locate the Logan departure, right? On the country, non-jet, we did all that. As an example, using the Logan departure, jet aircraft, fly 331 until 2 DME. Like, you shouldn't have any waypoints, Dougal. If you're doing this flight, you shouldn't have any waypoints. You're going to have the Logan departure as a jet, flying 092 degrees. You get to 5,000 feet. Then they're going to vector you. That's all it is. If you put in any specified waypoints, your flight plan is going to be, you're going to go miles off to that waypoint, and then you're going to have to come back in again. Does that make sense? This flight specifically is take off from this airport and immediately land using an ILS. Think of it as the IFR equivalent of your VFR pattern. That's what this particular lesson is. Now, you can refile, or you don't have to refile. You can go to that waypoint and then head back in as well. That's up to you. But specifically to this one, specifically for this one, it's you're just leaving it as direct, right? After receiving the approach clearance, so go flying. When you're ready, spawn on the ground, submit your flight plan. Fill in the top altitude that is appropriate to your aircraft type, i.e. you're on the Logan departure. It's going to be, if you're in a jet, Dougal, you just pop in 5,000 feet and put direct in the route section, since you will be receiving vectors for the entirety of the flight. They should give you vectors for the whole shebang. The whole shebang, all right? Don't forget to put in WINGS IFR 1 in the remarks too, all right? Give it a blast, lads. Let's see what happens, right? It'll either be terrible or terrible. But anyway, here we are in a beloved TBM, into the aircraft now, Murphy, and let's see what's going to happen here. So I need to connect. I am connected to the network, and we have some traffic. We've traffic all over the shop. All the traffic we're seeing, lads, is VATSIM traffic. Lovely. Right. Okay. Come on down to the gadget here, and let's go ahead and get some covers and chocks and doors and all the jazz closed. Yeah? Close the door. Bring up my steps. Close my door. Because we want to go flying, yeah? Green is locked. We look good out here. Fuel is okay. And disappear all of that. All right. Let's see now. Flight controls are where we need them. Turn on the battery. Inertial separator can open up. I'm no help on saying tensions with ILS. Oh, Jesus. All right, let me see. We're going to get our nav lights turned on here. And we're going to power up the aircraft. Again, we don't need to call for, we can call for clearance before we start up. There's no need. We're not going to be taking too much long. We know we're heading straight out. The weather's absolutely beautiful in Boston. Is that correct, lads? Is it? Let's give us a bit of cloud to play with. We'll change all this now based on the METAR, right? All right, so battery coming on. Now we're on the ground, so we'll just get this gadget started up. Ignition auto. Fuel pump on. Auto. Good. Good. Top full. Inertial separator. Cancel you. All right, let's get this plane started up and see what happens. Take you out of beta. Yep. All right, let's see what happens, lads. Okay, starter engaged. NG be rising. Up the hill you go. We'll introduce some fuel. Okay, we're watching for an ITT, and we're watching for a hung start on our NG. 724, she tops out. NG is good. Over 50. Starter off. Generator on.
That's a big 10-4, good buddy.
And we got to go start the engine. Patrick Doyle, thank you very much indeed for the gifted sub. Cheers, man. You must be on real weather and VATSIM. No, but just keep the wind direction and also the you want the wind direction and you want the whatchamacallit barometric settings correct, yeah? No need to request startup. Naughty Gnome, just to be clear, if you're an airliner on the gate, yes, because you need to ask for a push. I'm at the I'm over at the FBO. I'm not moving anywhere. I can start up. There's no restrictions on me starting up on the ground. Yeah. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Hello there.
All right. So let's get the ATIS. Boston ATIS 135.0. Shadow Mage, good to see you. We're hearing nothing. Okay, 135, not working. Boston ground or clearance 121650. Boston delivery, November 235 Romeo Mike, radio check. Do. 135 for... Yeah, it doesn't seem to be working. 121650, 121650. Have we got a problem here? He replied to me. Okay, I can't hear him. Balls. Gotta love the sim. Let's see. Hang on now. Volume mixer. Okay, why can't we hear you, Chief? Alright, let's try it again. Now, I still can't hear ATIS. Settings. Test. I can see it. Once again, Murph has shagged the sim. Hi. Right. I can't hear anything. Can you guys hear this now? Audio panel, COM 1, COM 2. Sometimes reset in VPilot. Yeah. We'll try it again, friends. Let's disconnect and reconnect.
Parallel runways. ILS runway 4 right approach and visual approach to runway 4 left in use. Departing runway 9er. Runway 33 right is approved for turnoff after landing. All aircraft retake all hold short instructions and defined altitude. Numerous construction cranes in Boston area and in the vicinity of Logan Airport. Advise on initial contact. You have information X-ray. Boston Logan Airport ATIS information X-ray. 1954 Zulu. Wind 140 at 9er. Visibility 10. Fuel Clouds at 25,000. Temperature 19er. 2.1. Altimeter 3019er. Approaches are being conducted to parallel runways. ILS runway 4 right approach and visual approach to runway 4 left in use. Departing runway 9er. Runway 33 right is approved for turnoff after landing. All aircraft read may call hold short instructions and assigned altitudes. Numerous construction cranes in Boston area and in the vicinity of Logan Airport. Advise on initial contact. You have information X-ray.
Okay, so try and listen to some of the information that we're after getting there.
Boston Logan Airport ATIS information X-ray. 1954 Zulu. Wed 140 at 9er. Visibility 10. Few clouds at 25,000. Temperature 19er. 2.1. Altimeter 3019er. Approaches are being conducted to parallel runways.
Okay.
ILS runway 4 right approach and visual approach to runway 4 left in use. Departing runway 9er. Runway 33 right is approved for turnoff after landing. All aircraft read may call hold short instructions and assigned altitudes. Numerous construction cranes in Boston area and in the vicinity of Logan Airport. Advise on initial contact. You have information X-ray.
Okay, information X-ray. That's all we
Boston
need.
Logan Airport ATIS information X-ray.
And squawk 4760, and I do have X-ray on board.
Okay.
November 1286 Alpha, read back correct. Advised ready to taxi, runway 9er.
Will advise when ready to taxi for runway 9er for 86 Alpha.
All right. So there's a bit of stuff going on, so we'll calm it all down and collect our thoughts, right? So we know we're going to be departing runway 09, or 9er. Drop to zeros, you're in the States. Runway 9, all right? After departure, we're going to be planning to climb to 3,000 feet. We're going to stay on that heading until we're told something different. At this moment in time, we can keep our heading synced with the runway, which is going to be fine. We're going to get information such as our clearance cleared to your destination. In this case, it's going to be Boston. Via the Logan for departure, I'm planning to hear that, right? Climb and maintain 3,000. Departure.
Logan ATC, Juliet, ready to taxi.
We'll get our departure frequency, and then we'll get our squawk code. All right?
November 930 Juliet, verify information X-ray on board.
JP,
We do have
turboprop, not a
X-ray on
jet.
board.
Not a jet.
November 930 Juliet, thank you. Monitor Boston ground 121.9er.
Monitor 121.9. November 930 Juliet here.
And again, big shout out to the lads at Boston Virtual ARTCC. Like he could have easily told the last
Boston
guy.
clearance, November
No.
1286 Alpha, ready for taxi.
So clearance guys need to be talking to ground, I imagine.
November 1286 Alpha, monitor ground 121.9er.
Monitor ground 121.9er, thank you.
Now I'm unsure at Boston, like once you get your clearance, is that an automatic I now move over to the ground frequency? Most airports I would operate, yes, you don't need to contact clearance again. You go straight to ground. That's my understanding. But maybe someone here from Boston ARTC can let us know. Yeah, Murph, once you get your clearance, you just talk to ground. They'll look after you. Or no, go back to clearance and then he'll hand you over to ground. I'm unsure, you know? Unless ATIS says something different, yeah. I was thinking that, Scott, yeah. So what we're going to do, we're going to request our clearance, all right? Go to clearance, delivery will tell you this. Okay, so Boston's different. Go to clearance, delivery will tell you this. Okay. Will I get the clearance if not registered for Wings, Murph? Yeah, Dougal. Yeah. It doesn't have to be for the Wings course, but the lads know you're... If there's any questions, I'll say you're with the group, you just want to train, you haven't set up yet. It should be fine, dude, yeah? All right, let us ask the question, and let's see what happens. Clearance delivery, good afternoon. November 235 Romeo Mike. TBM over at Signature. We have information X-ray looking for our IFR clearance. Wings IFR 1.
November 235 Romeo Mike, Boston clearance. Good afternoon. Wings IFR 1 is approved. Cleared to the Boston airport via the Logan 4 departure. Radar vectors direct. Maintain 3000, squawk 4664.
We are cleared to the Boston airport via the Logan 4 departure. Radar vectors direct. 3,000 feet and squawk 4664 for November 235 Romeo Mike.
November 235 Romeo Mike, read back correct, advise ready to taxi, runway 9er.
We'll go. Alright, so he's told me, advise when ready to taxi. He's eliminated
Boston
the mystery.
Delivery, hello, Firefly 301.
Oh, Firefly!
Longitude over its signature.
4664.
Looking for clearance to Boston for the Wings IFR Flight 1, please.
Okay. So we're on the Logan 4. So we know that's going to be the heading of the runway, right? 3,000 is all we need. And we're going to be
Last
direct.
aircraft calling, say call sign again, I'm sorry.
Firefly 301, Foxtrot Alpha 301.
Firefly 301, Boston clearance. Good afternoon. Wings IFR 1 is approved. Cleared to the Boston airport via the Logan 4 departure. Radar vectors direct. Maintain 5000. Departure frequency 133.0. Squawk 4732.
Okay, so our next little trick is, where is he going to bring us?
Cleared to the Boston
So we need to get down to runway 9.
For departure, maintain 5,000 feet. Departure frequency 1330 and squawk 4732 for Firefly 301.
Firefly 301, read back correct, advise ready to taxi, runway 9er.
Okay.
And clearance delivery November 235 Romeo Mike, ready for taxi.
72 Mike Kilo. Over signals over the information X-ray.
I was talking over someone.
No, this is for the Wings IFR 1.
That was 2 at once. I think I had November 235 Romeo Mike ready to taxi.
5 Romeo Mike, Roger, ready for taxi.
November 5 Romeo Mike, monitor Boston ground 121.9er.
Over to 1219er for 5 Romeo Mike.
KBOS is calling for clearance.
Hold short and for
972 Mike Kilo.
Alright, over the ground, 1219er. And we'll ask the question here and we're going to write down what he's telling us. Alright? Boston ground, November 235 Romeo Mike, over at signature, request taxi.
November 235 Romeo Mike, Boston ground, hello. Your departure is going to be at runway 4 left at intersection Echo. Let me know if you need a few moments to change that in your electronics.
4 left for an intersection, that is okay. Just to confirm, we'd be planning to, yeah, no, that's grand. 5 Romeo Mike, that's okay.
Okay, November 5 Romeo Mike, are you still ready for taxi?
November 235 Romeo Mike, yes, ready for taxi.
November 5 Romeo Mike, runway 4 left at Echo, taxi via Bravo.
Taxi 4 left via Echo and Bravo for November 235 Romeo Mike.
Negative, November 235 Romeo Mike, taxi to runway 4 left at intersection Echo via Bravo.
Understood. Taxi runway 4 left at Echo via taxiway Bravo for November 235 Romeo Mike.
Yeah, you got it.
Hey! Oh! Hey! Right! Jesus! So, so here's Bravo. So we need to go this way. And then we're going up to Echo. 04 left. Is that right? Are we all looking at this say, yeah, Murph, that's exactly what he told you. So it's going to be Bravo all the way down to Echo. Looks right to me, doesn't it? Right, let's go with that. Oh, Jesus. Right. No panic. Not at all. Taxi light. Yes. Off the brakes. And maneuver. Easy now, Betsy. Left, somewhat clear.
November
Right, clear.
1286 Alpha. Hold short of runway 4 left at Echo and monitor Boston Tower 128.8. Have a good day.
Hold short, runway 4 left at Echo, and monitor Boston Tower on 128.8. Thank you. Have a good day.
Gibbo, you poor old devil. How are you, mate? Okay, this is Bravo. We live on Bravo. All right, we're looking good. So we taxi on Bravo. Now, keep going.
Firefly 301 Boston ground.
Boston!
You ready for taxi?
Scenery's good, Scott, yeah.
Ready for taxi for Firefly 301.
Firefly 301, did you plan for runway 9er?
AFM runway 9 if possible.
Firefly 301, runway 9er, taxi Bravo Kilo, hold short runway 4 left.
I wanted 9er.
Taxi via Bravo Kilo and hold short 4 left for Firefly 301.
Oh, jeez. Gibbo, hope you're well.
November 972 Mike Kilo Boston ground, you ready for taxi?
Ready for taxi, November 2 Mike Kilo.
November 2 Mike Kilo, did you plan for runway 4 left at Echo?
Negative, I plan for runway 9er, November 2 Mike Kilo.
November 2 Mike Kilo, your departure runway is going to be runway 4 left at intersection Echo, advise ready for taxi.
Follow me!
Roger, we'll set that up. Thank
Well,
you.
bro, good to see you. Follow me.
Firefly 322 Boston ground, push back into the ramp is at your own discretion, advise ready for taxi, runway 9er.
Ooh, that was nice. Rambo, good to see you. Stick your eyes, good to see you. Welcome in, lads. There's a plane taking off. Look at this state
Firefly
of them.
322 Boston ground. Air Canada 7280, Air Canada 7282 Boston ground, push back on 12 is approved.
100% Malky, but that's what it's all about.
I have, Ted. I've been drinking like a mad idiot.
It is for sequencing, of course it is. We got jets and general aviation, so like...
Air Canada 7282 Boston ground.
Air Canada 7282 with
With you.
Air Canada 7282, push back on 12 is approved.
push back on
55322 with him.
Air Canada 7282.
Firefly 322 Boston ground, hello. Push back into the ramp is your discretion. Advise ready for taxi, runway 9er.
Push my discretion, advise ready for taxi 9er, Firefly 322.
Good stuff, lads, good stuff.
Ground, November 2 Mike Kilo, ready for taxi.
November 2 Mike Kilo, runway 4
exciting,
left
isn't it?
at Echo,
Jesus.
taxi via Bravo.
Runway 4 left at Echo, taxi via Bravo, November 2 Mike Kilo.
Now, I need to make sure I don't go wrong here. Murphy, go wrong? Are you for real? Like, there is Echo? Yeah, that's okay. We're all right, lads. Nothing to worry about. Is there anyone behind me? We're taking our time. Oh, there is, look! There's a naughty gnome right behind me. Naughty! Be careful of me out way turbulence, you know what I mean? Yup to be Jesus. All is well in the realm. Hey, Swap, good to see you.
November 235 Romeo Mike, hold short runway 4 left at Echo and monitor Boston Tower 128.8. Have a good day.
Hold short of runway 4 left at Echo and we'll monitor 128.8. November 235 runway Mike, thanks. We got to hold short. Boston. That's Kilo. Where's Echo? Echo's beside it, is it? Jesus. What is which?
Number 235, Romeo Mike, Boston Tower, good evening, on departure for heading 270, the wind 1409, runway 4 left at Echo, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 4 left at Echo, November 235, Romeo Mike. Alright, no messing there, lads. Line them up. Alrighty, in you go. Right's clear, left should be clear. Easy now, Jemima. Alrighty. Heading goes to heading. One notch of the flaps if you play. Let's go flying. Takeoff power set. Speed live. We're looking for a rotation speed of around 85.
Line 301 Boston Tower, good evening, cross runway 4 left on Kilo.
Yep, see Daisy. There's a positive rate of climb. And indicated.
Mike for Firefly 301, good evening.
Gear coming up. Gear indicates up. Flaps in. Yaw dampener. Autopilot. And we'll climb.
Number 235 for Mike, fly heading 270, contact Boston departure, we'll see you.
Fly 270 and over to Boston departure, November 235 Romeo Mike. 270. You did say 270, didn't he?
Flight 301, looks like you missed the mic interview check out, launch just south runway 9 at Kilo. I can make an exception there. The wind 140 at 9, runway 9 is clear for takeoff.
Apologies about that. Runway 9 at clear for takeoff for Firefly 301.
No problem.
Boston departure, November 235 Romeo Mike on a heading of 270, climbing 1,200 up to 3,000.
United 235 Romeo Mike, Boston departure, radar contact, maintain 3,000.
Maintain 3,000, November 235 Romeo Mike. 270 in the box.
United 881 Heavy, you're 4 miles from Milt. Terminate heading 020, maintain 2,000 until established. Clear ILS runway 4 right approach.
Right turn 020, maintain 2,000, cleared the ILS 4 right approach, United 881 Heavy, can't take your number.
Watch your speed.
November 235 Romeo Mike, turn left heading 220.
Left 220 for November 235 Romeo Mike. There's 220. Alright, so they're giving us a left turn around the paddock, yeah? Beautiful! Although we shouldn't be able to see anything. But sure, listen. So, ILS chart is on over here. So we'll probably get a fix over here somewhere.
United 881 Heavy, contact Boston Tower 128.8.
28.8 for United 881 Heavy, see you.
Yeah. Alright, coming up to 3,000. So far, so
November
good.
235 Romeo Mike, you can expect vectors ILS runway 4 right approach to Boston altimeter 3019er.
We'll expect the ILS 4 left approach for November 235 Romeo Mike.
November 235 Romeo Mike, ILS Runway 4 right approach.
Correction, ILS Runway 4 right approach, November 235 Romeo Mike. You big agent, Murphy!
Boston approach, hello, Firefly 301.
Could have been worse, lads. Right. It's a 4 right, you muppet.
Firefly 301, Boston departure, radar contact, climb maintain 5000, turn right heading 220, vectors ILS Runway 4 right approach.
Alright, 220, expect vectors for ILS 4 left approach.
Right, we did the same!
Turn heading right 220
Jesus.
and maintain 5,000 feet for Firefly 301.
Right, we're in the soup now. I thought I was going to go far left and then he told me far right. Then I boxed the head off him. The sweet baby Jesus. Brilliant. Katie Taylor. Brilliant. I thought it was going to be great. Oh, Jesus. I want to thank me dad, me mom, me brother, me sister and the little baby Jesus. Not supposed to be laughing or having the crack. Right, it's terribly important.
Firefly 301, descend and maintain 4000.
Concentration, Murph.
Maintain 4,000, Firefly 301.
Right, all is well in the realm. Where's me pen? I'll have it here. Right, grand. Beautiful views, man. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't it gorgeous? Speed is okay, 180. Like we're you know, we're well within
November
reason.
235 Romeo Mike, turn left heading 130, descend and maintain 2000.
What was the heading? 170. Say again, November 235 Romeo Mike.
November 235 Romeo Mike, turn left heading 130, descend and maintain 2000.
Turn left heading 130, descend and maintain 2000 for November 235 Romeo Mike. Jeez, I thought you said
Firefly
170.
301, descend and maintain 3000.
Descend and maintain 3,000, Firefly 301.
Left turn 130 and down to 2,000 feet. Easy now. Like, you don't want to come across as a complete and utter idiot, but if you don't understand what they say,
Departure, good afternoon, November
don't assume you know what they've said. Ask them again.
1,800 feet.
November 972 Mike, Kilo Boston departure, radar contact, maintain 3000, turn left heading 220.
Maintain 3,000, heading 220, November 2 Mike Kilo.
Alright, there's 2,000.
Frontier Flight 301, reduce speed to 190, then turn right heading 310. November 235 Romeo Mike, you're 4 miles from Milt, turn left heading 060, maintain 2000 until established, quit ILS Runway 84 right approach.
4 miles from Millet, left heading 060 and until established at 2,000 feet for ILS Runway 4 right for November 235 Romeo Mike.
Firefly 301, reduce speed to 190, then turn right heading 310.
Reduce speed 190 and right to 310 for Firefly 301.
Final course
Good
is
evening, JetBlue 2674, Roebuck 3,
35.
crossing Judy, 11,100.
JetBlue 2674, Boston approach to Boston altimeter 3019er, X-rays current, expect the ILS Runway 4 right approach.
Expect ILS 4 right, and we have X-ray, thanks, JetBlue 2674.
JetBlue 2674, reduce speed to 210 knots. At Goshi, quit ILS Runway 4 right approach.
Good afternoon, Air Canada 7282, with you at 3035, climbing 5000.
JetBlue 2674 at Goshi, cleared ILS runway 4 right approach, reduce speed to 210 knots until advised.
Okay, cleared ILS 4 right and we're slowing to 210 for JetBlue 2674. Cheers.
November 5, Romeo Mike, caution brake turbulence following a heavy 787, contact Boston Tower now, 128.8.
Roger the turbulence and over to Tower 128.8 for November 235 Romeo Mike, thanks. Boston Tower, November 225 Romeo Mike, 7 miles, runway 4 right. Full stop landing.
November 235 Romeo Mike, Boston Tower, hello, down the wind 150 at 10, runway 4 right, to land, caution, its arrival, a heavy 787.
Clear to land, runway 4 right, and roger the wake turbulence for November 225 Romeo Mike. Alright. In you go, you big Aegis. Right. We are descending nicely. Ah, Jesus, you had a CTD on climb out. You're medic! Dougal needs a medic. Medic emotes into the chat. Jesus. Sorry, Dougal. Loads of time to give it a shot again. Right, watch your speed coming in here. 140. Descending is looking good. We are captured fully. Glide slope is in place. And we also have our lateral. The Pappy are somewhat happy. Angry Lou had a CTD as well. Jesus. Decision height on this gadget is going to be 200. Let's go. Let's go 200 flat. All right, make our way in. Notch the flaps. Yeah, dampener off. Autopilot off. We'll fly this ourselves. We're on our instruments. Keep that glide slope in play. Good. Lateral's looking good. Hey, thank you. Good to see you. Gear. Gear's coming down.
Boston Tower, hello.
Flaps are good. Speed is good.
01.
55301 Boston Tower, good evening, wind 15010, runway 4 right, cleared to land, number 2.
Imagine if we forgot the gear.
Land number 2 for Firefly 301.
Speed is good. A little bit bouncy. Decision height. We're landing. Easy, little bit squally. Easy. Alright, Murph, put her down. Put her down. Touchdown, beta. Small bit of breakage. Flaps in.
Hello there.
Flaps out.
November 235 Romeo Mike, welcome to Boston. Join Foxtrot, hold short runway 4 left at Foxtrot.
Join Foxtrot, hold runway 4 left at Foxtrot. November 235 Romeo Mike. Ah, Jesus. Could be a driver issue. There's many driver issues, lads. I'm driving. Right. Left. Hold short. On to Foxtrot. Blimey, is that the whole short there? It is? Or is the next one up the whole short? Drive it on, Murphy, be alright. If they give out to you, blame Gibbo. Yeah, drive it on, you muppet. Move, plane, move.
Boston Tower and November 972 Mike Kilo LS 04 right.
We're all right now, lads.
972 Mike Kilo Boston Tower, good evening, wind 15010, runway 4 right, clear to land number 2.
4 right, clear to land number 2, number 2 Mike Kilo.
Over T35, Romeo Mike, cross runway 4 left on Foxtrot, contact around 0.9 with 0.
Cross runway 4 left on Foxtrot and contact ramp for November 235 runway Mike. Thanks. 1219.
Correct.
Boston Ground, November 225 Romeo Mike is just crossing 4 left on Foxtrot. Request parking at Signature.
November 235 Romeo Mike, Boston Ground, welcome back, taxi to Signature via Foxtrot Alpha.
Taxi to Signature via Foxtrot Alpha for 5 Romeo Mike. Alright. I'm guessing this is Alpha. Let's see what happens. Oh, Zit got botted, you poor old divil, you. Poor old divil. Dougal, yeah, there's nothing worse than a friggin' CTT, mate. But it can happen, right? I mean, that's flight sim. The good news is the controllers are still online, right? Try not to let you knock you.
15 requesting push and start.
Double 85, 15 Boston Ground, hello, I don't have your paperwork, so contact delivery first, please.
Roger that.
Like, there is nothing more frustrating. Or frustrating. You're ready to rock. Everything's dialed in. You take off, and next thing, boom, the sim says, "Not today." It's a pain in the ass, man.
Number 235 Romeo Mike, congrats on passing your WINGS IFR 1 flight.
Many thanks, and thank you so much for all the service today, guys. Awesome.
No problem. We'll see you.
Brilliant. Paperwork, yeah, it's flight plan, so they don't have. It could have been worse, yeah. Malky Malk could have been worse. Dougal, could you imagine if that was like short final? Next thing, there'd be all sorts of new words invented. I'd say, most of them starting with the, where are we going from here? We're going down this way. Oh, there's Signature there. Look, flange, yeah. To start off the flange. Gigliotti, good to see you, man. Welcome in. Murph, do you reckon I'll see much difference in the sim upgrading to 64 from 32? You'll see a bit. 5 Romeo Mike, you weren't as much as an idiot that we were expecting.
Boston Ground, hello, Firefly 301.
Give me time, Gibbo, give me time.
Firefly 301. Boston Ground, continue via November, hold short runway 15 right.
Continue via November, hold short 15 right for Firefly 301.
I don't know, can I enter in that side? Looking at the charts you couldn't, so I'll hang a left over here. We're just going to sneak into the FBO, right? Sneak in. Say nothing to no one, we'll just sneak in. There we go. There's no one else down here, so we got away with it. Is this still the Boston training thingy? I tried to register, but I was unable to finish the last 2 boxes in the forum. What? Really? It's still on the WINGS course. I highly recommend this because apart from being,
Firefly 301,
incredibly awesome.
To Signature via November, Bravo, cross runway 15 right.
It's you have to spend time practicing. And
taxi to Signature via November and Bravo cross runway 15 right for Firefly 30.
So just to kind of explain where we're at, right? In order to practice here, the entire WINGS program, which is a free training course for all the practical flying that you're going to do on VATSIM under the Boston Virtual ARTCC.
November 972 Mike Kilo, holding short on Foxtrot.
What makes this incredible, the controllers know you're learning.
Hello there.
And I've made a couple of mistakes tonight.
November 972, Mike Kilo Boss, ground taxi to signature via Foxtrot Alpha.
Maldorak, thank you for the follow.
Via Foxtrot and Alpha, November 972, Mike Kilo.
JetBlue 8515, Boss, grounding with me.
JetBlue 8515 with you.
JetBlue 8515, thanks. Give A to TBM, right to left on Alpha, then your pushback onto Alpha is approved.
Pushback on Alpha is approved and looking for TBM, JetBlue 8515.
Right. I want you parking that like a dog taking a slash in the wind, but it's grand, lads, right? It's grand. Out of beta. Park and brake on. Flight director comes off. Cancel you. Let's see here now. Echo standby. And we'll...
Firefly 301. Congrats on passing your WINGS IFR 1 flight.
Woohoo!
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your service. Really good. Thanks a lot.
No problem. We'll see you.
See ya! Alright, so let's do a quick recap on everything that we did, right? So, aircraft still running. Let's shut this machine down. The nurse separator can stay open for the moment. Okay, we're looking at avionics, so go ahead and kill you. That looks good, that looks good, that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. Power coming off. Alright. And we get that inertia separator out of there as well. Alright, so let's do a quick recap on what we've just done here, right? Because as you can imagine, things get very busy very quick. Which is normal, right? In ATC, it's normal. And you can see, hopefully that showed you how much easier life is when you're familiar with the aircraft that you're using. And I can't emphasize on that enough, lads, right? Having the use of an aircraft that you are so very familiar with, meaning you don't need to think about flying the plane. You're so comfortable with the aircraft. Your focus is primarily on your ATC interactions. All right. So flying a heading, I have a button set up to move my heading. Radio frequencies, I'm using a GTN. It's quite easy to move the frequencies up and down and around. Autopilot, making sure I didn't blow through any altitude limits that they gave me, any speed, all that sort of stuff. So you pick an aircraft you're very familiar with. Picking an airliner, unless of course you're very familiar with the unless you're familiar with that airliner, I would always kind of edge on the side of caution. Pick an airplane you're familiar with. And if that means you're picking a Cessna 172 to try these, that's what it is you need to try. Okay? So what we've done tonight, a quick recap. Okay? We were given a clearance because what we wanted to do was depart using a standard instrument departure, SID, and it was originally planning for runway 9. We were planning to take off from runway 9er, knowing that after departure, we're just going to be vectored, meaning that ATC are going to be giving us constant headings to get ourselves all the way around. All right. Now, when we called for our clearance, it changed. He said, no, you're going to be blasting off now from, when we called for ground, it changed. Ground said, okay, you're going to be blasting off now from 4 left. Now, it wasn't a huge inconvenience to us, but I was expecting 9. Now, I'm looking at the chart, so how do I get down there? A beautiful thing with Navigraph, and again, if you're on the fence about getting Navigraph, just get a month. Try it out for a month. If you're going to be doing online flying, I think Navigraph is an absolute requirement. I might look at others, but for the moment, without Navigraph, you're putting yourself under pressure, right? Our original taxi was going to be on Bravo, so I can actually write that. See the way I'm drawing this? I can actually put this on my little chart and say, right, this is where I have to go to. So that's where I'm taxiing from. Meaning then that I can just, oh, look, that's real handy. Now, if we were to put in once we arrived, yeah, we'll do this in a different color. We landed on runway 04. We touched down here on the red X. Right? And our taxi instructions back were, it was to join Foxtrot Then we were told to hold short. Then we were told to cross runway 4 left and contact ground. We spoke to ground. He said via Foxtrot, taxi Alpha, yeah, all the way back up to the FBO, which was in here. Now, I actually went this way. Right? But don't worry about that. So you can see how handy it is for actually writing this stuff down on the charts, right? If you can't afford the Navigraph stuff, yeah, the sim charts are getting better. They just are. Google got 9. Nice one. Let me talk to Navigraph to see can we run different promotions and stuff, especially when it comes to these courses. But Noddy Gnome has asked me a question regarding the other thing. That at the moment, would you believe it? That's not possible. Which is like, what? They're looking into it. But using something like this is just class because it really makes understanding what it is you're supposed to do better. Now, I don't know what your level of writing on a bit of paper is. That's my hieroglyphics, right? It makes sense to me. But again, once you break down, like I can actually now type out the entire clearance. So let's go back in. So my initial cleared to the Boston airport. Route was going to be the route was going to be originally runway 9, Logan 4, yeah. We didn't get a frequency, and we got a squawk of 4646, or no, 4664. So that was my initial clearance. So see the way once you break it down into craft. Clear to the Boston airport, runway 9, Logan 4. Departure. Yeah. Climb and maintain 3000, transponder or squawk 4664. That was the first part. Then I had to talk to ground. So I got my clearance. The next thing I spoke to ground and I said taxi. And my initial instruction was, you're now taxiing to 4 left, yeah, which is going to be an intersection departure. I always put an X for either cross or I'll do an intersection like that. That's just what I write down so I know intersection, right? So it was 4 left, intersection at Echo. And then it was taxi Bravo. All right, so that was my taxi clearance. So it's going to be 4 left. My takeoff clearance pretty much happened fairly quick. Runway 4 left. Clear takeoff. Then I got turn left 270 degrees. Maintain 3,000 feet. Then we got a... that was 270. Then we got a 130 left turn, right? So turn left 130. And that one then at 130, that was descend down to 2,000 feet. All right. Okay. Then we got something like 4 miles millet, I think it was called. Turn left 060 until established. Localizer 4 right. Now we got in between all of this, so we got turn left, then we got the clearance for the ILS 4 right, yeah? So we were cleared for the ILS. So that was our clearance to say, yeah, you can do it. Turn left, 4 miles millet, turn left until established on the localizer. Then we got clear to land. Yeah. Cleared to land, 4 right. And they told us caution. Yeah. Caution, wake turbulence. Now, lads, wake turbulence, it's not a big to-do at the moment. Some sims can handle it differently, right? It is a real thing, and it is coming into your flight sims. I'm unsure, does VATSIM currently do it in Microsoft Flight Sim? I'm not sure. I've seen it on X-Plane. What they mean by wake turbulence, we have an entire section all about wake turbulence, and it's important you start reading this up because wake turbulence is definitely a feature coming into the sims very soon. We're going to see a Microsoft Flight Sim, probably with Sim Update 2, or maybe definitely 3, right? So we have an entire section on wake turbulence. It's under your IFR phraseology. Click on wake turbulence, brings on to page 117. This explains what wake turbulence is and what you need to expect. Because that was a 787 coming in, therefore he was classed as a heavy, yeah? Which means it takes somewhere between 2 to 5 minutes. 5 is a bit extreme. It takes roughly 3 minutes for turbulent air to dissipate. So us flying into the wake of a larger aircraft, it could like jump us out to the bejesus. Do you know what I mean? Does VATSIM cater to multiple types of flight sims at the same time? Or is it limited by the sim? No, VATSIM, you can connect to VATSIM right now using X-Plane, right? And P3D or Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 or 2024. So you can go either, lads. Either, right? Yeah, probably goes all the way back to 2004. Yeah, Shatter Image, yeah. Or Shatter Made, sorry. Yeah, good. Wake turbulence. This is something, just have a read up on it because this is important. You're going to be seeing this into the sim very, very soon. Pilot Edge does all this. Yeah, so just to be aware of it. All right. So you can have an X-Plane user and Microsoft user same airport. Oh, JP, absolutely, man. It's awesome. It's awesome what you can do. And like some of the flights, I know the lads are still working away. Every Thursday night we have VATSIM group flights. Every Thursday night, right? They're not streamed for now. They're not streamed because I'm working. But every Thursday night, Naughty Gnome, Dougal, and all the lads, they'll plan flights. They're currently working in Europe. They're almost at the tail end of all their European flights. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be flying in the United States every Thursday night with VATSIM, right? What's TTM? Two-tone Murphy, silly Sav. Two-tone Murphy. Yeah, I'm in Egypt, but sure, I've registered a company. But anyway, every Thursday, we're going to be doing VATSIM flights, and this is going to be flying in the United States. And I will be showing both Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I'll show a bit of X-Plane as well, because we have different aircraft on X-Plane, but it's to give you a comparison between both sims. As flight sim enthusiasts, I absolutely adore Microsoft Flight Sim. It is without question my favorite sim, without question. But I like to jump into X-Plane every now and again, particularly if we're going to do nighttime flights, because it can look stunning. Some of the aircraft are really fun, right? But it'll give you guys a good idea of, oh, hang on, I might try this flight on this sim or that flight on this sim. We can't, choices, no harm in choice, right? No harm in choice. Anyway, so that was the wake turbulence. We got down, we landed, and then we got our taxi instruction back. So once we landed, it was join Foxtrot, and then we were told to hold short, 4 left. And then we were told cross, 4 left. And then contact ground. We got to ground. That's the plan, Dougal. 100%, that's the plan. Contact ground. Then we were told taxi to the FBO, fixed-based operator. There's different names for different companies. You can call it Signature. They've Millionaire. They've a load of different FBOs. Once you say FBO or even Signature, I know the guys in Boston, they know their airspace, man. I mean, they know it inside and out. So if I were to say Signature, on over to Signature. If your scenery didn't have, Signature, right? It doesn't, your scenery mightn't have the friggin' Signature building, right? You could be just on default. But go by your charts. Figure out in your charts what's actually down here. Down here, general aviation ramp, right? But if you look at some of the other charts, it'll show you where the FBO is. It comes up on the chart. It'll say FBO, fixed-based operator. Make sense? So taxi to the FBO, and we were told via Fox and Alpha. All right, taxi FBO via Fox and Alpha, and that's what we did. So then we came back in here and we said, all right, Foxtrot, Alpha, all the way back down. Now, this sort of a flight that we did tonight, the Wings 1 flight, it seems like there's an awful lot of stuff going on. And, there is, if it's the first time you're going to do it. The workload on this was particularly busy, and probably busier than what you're going to have to expect. And the reason why it's so busy, lads, think about it. We took off, and we immediately landed. So we had to plan everything from start to finish relatively quickly. The controller was doing a lot of the work for us. That meant we're now busier because we need to respond quickly to different headings. So the level of concentration with ATC, it's way up there because they're going to vector us. Okay, that's the Wings 1 flight. Think of tonight as doing the pattern work, but it's on IFR. All right. Even though the clouds were thereabouts, I wasn't paying attention what was on the ground. My instruments did all the work tonight. My altimeter and my heading and my speed. They did all the work. I was then able to tune in the localizer. I was able to use my nav radio, tune in the localizer, put in my final course into my HSI here, and then I knew by following that, it locked on to the localizer. I captured the glide slope, and then I came up here to adjust the decision height, altitude. I'll get the ping. I'm now at my decision height. Can I see the runway? Again, aircraft familiarity is absolutely key. And only worry about the aircraft familiarity when you're training. Because once you've learned how to do this, and you keep getting better, like everything, practice doesn't make perfect. I've always said this. Anyone who thinks practice makes perfect, it doesn't. Practice makes permanent. You'll learn it, and it's like you'll just remember it. Yeah, that's what I do. Once you have it all kind of figured out, then you can apply this method to any aircraft. You want to take a 747 out of Boston? Have at it, right? But at this stage, because we're learning and we just want to make sure we're getting the information correctly, we're fine-tuning things. Every time I fly online, I learn something new. Tonight, this is the very first time a departure runway was changed between clearance and taxi. That's never happened before, unless, of course, the TAF or the METAR was giving you a different change in the winds. The wind has suddenly changed. You now have to go that way. Boston, because it's much busier airspace. It's a Class Bravo. That is the busiest of the airports, the Class Bravo airports. They have to work on the separation of other aircraft. That's why they said, no, I'm slow moving traffic. I want you on this runway instead. And that's what the controllers, and hats off to all the controllers here, lads, from the Boston Virtual ARTCC. They're dealing with regular flyers who are on VATSIM. They're dealing with, newbies. They're dealing with folks who have the experience and are quite capable, and they're transitioning, right? They're dealing with all of these people, and yet they still have to maintain, separation between all aircraft and control things. They do an incredible job. And when you see the levels of staffing that you get in the US compared to Europe, in Europe, it's quite normal to have an approach controller looking after the whole shebang. It's great to see this now with the Boston Virtual ARTCC because they staff up. They staffed up ground. They staffed up clearance delivery. That's at the bottom. Then ground. Then tower. Then approach. And they had a center on above that. They had lots of different ATC coverage for the entire area. Yeah. If you ever wonder, Jesus Murph, how do you know when they're on? Well, they'll let you know. You can check it out on their website, right? The best thing I would recommend for anyone is checking out the VATSIM radar. So VATSIM-radar, it's absolutely incredible. So if we look at Boston, look at this. We got Boston Approach online, and they're covering down here as well. They're active in Nantucket, man. That's awesome, right? And then we have Newark on over here, looks like. So Newark is on down south. So they've had 11 departures, which is great for them. They've had one local flight. There's 3 flights planned, ready to go, and they've had an arrival that came in from, they're expecting an arrival coming in. One from JFK, one from Boston. There's Firefly 322. Yeah. And they're expecting, what's CXA, lads? Let's have a look. Canada Express, right? And you can see in the map here how all the aircraft are looking, yeah? So I was down here. I've now disconnected. But you can see all the stands, all the information. You can see everything. And this website is free. It's a freeware website. Meaning that they're going to show you the whole shebang for free, right? And if you're ever unsure, if you want to start learning this and you're saying, do you know what? I want to do it, but I'm just not there yet. You can still connect to the VATSIM network, but you do so using what's called observer mode. When you connect to VATSIM and you press the button observer mode, they can't see you. You can do anything you want. You could be down on the bottom of the ramp doing donuts. They can't see you. However, just don't press the transmit button because they will hear you if you transmit. You have a push to talk button. What I would do when I'm on observer mode, if I just want to get a feel for the place, right? And I can probably do so here. Like, let's do this for the crack, look, right? Let's do this for the crack with X-Plane, just to show you the difference very quickly, right? Run that. So I'm going to launch X-Plane. Says you are going to do what? I'm going to launch X-Plane, right? Because what I want to show you, I don't need the sim because I'm disconnected now from, I'm disconnected on the sim. I'm going to launch X-Plane here because I want to show you the difference, right? Is that guy running? Right, he's running. So I'm going to go into X-Plane and I'm going to fire up Boston, all right? And then I'm going to just jump, I'm going to join that session, but in observer mode, all right? Meaning that they can't see me. And they'll hear me, but they can't see me. That is the best way to learn because you're listening out to what everyone is doing. Plus, you can follow, I mean, you can get right up beside a plane if you wish. You can follow that aircraft, mimicking every single move that they're doing, and they can't see you. You can see them, but they can't see you. The observer mode, it's an awesome way to learn. It's an awesome way to learn, right? So let's see, if we go KBOS, and let's just zoom in here. This is probably default X-Plane scenery, right? We'll come down here to the FBO. Let's go to real world weather, which is actually clear skies at the moment. And yeah, we'll just load in local time here, right? It's an awesome way to do it. And you can be observer mode anywhere in the world once you see that there's ATC coverage available. Do you know what I mean? Which is a great thing to see. The reason why I'm showing you this on X-Plane, it's just to show you how VATSIM works. It doesn't really matter what sim you're on. It's going to do the same things, right? You have vPilot when it comes to Microsoft Flight Simulator and P3D and whatever else. X-Pilot is its own standalone little app, and that looks after everything else. So for me to get for me to get X-Plane, I'll go into X-Pilot up here. Okay, that. And I have an X-Pilot over here. Because I'm awkward, I do everything in what's called network mode, right? So I have one PC doing all the computing and the audio, and the other PC is just, you know, listening to it. It's fairly complex to set up, you know. City Staff says, what channel should I keep an eye on for the general aviation VATSIM stuff? So we've just passed, well, when I say general aviation, like a TBM is general aviation. I'm going to hang on to the TBM for a while. Then I'm going to transition to some of the larger aircraft. Like while we're just waiting for this to load, the next Wings flight we're going to tackle next week, lads. Where are you now, please, Wings? Here we go. So we've completed that, right? The next flight, VOR navigation. So we're going to do the Wings 2 flight. The second IFR rating is a short hop from Boston over to Providence. And it's going to expand on the concepts we've learned in our first lesson. And it introduces VOR navigation and also the terminal, what tech again? Something chart. TEC, tech. What's tech stand for again? Something charts. I'll figure it out. Additionally, if you fly an ILS approach into Providence to further hone your instrument approach skills. No, it's not TEC routes. Tech routes are kind of like recommended or like our favorite types of routes. Yeah, it'll explain it here now. So let's see. In areas Class B, if you fly tower en route control, there you go. Flights. It's a route that transits approach controlled airspace only. Consequently, the routes often have maximum altitudes to prevent aircraft from entering the en route center airspace. Tower en route charts. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. All right. So what this flight is going to have us do, we're going to take off out of Boston. We're going to fly VOR navigation, right? Instead of using like nav aids as in waypoints, we'll just tune in our radio, VOR, get the frequency, get a heading, fly that heading until we get down to Providence. It's very short, very short. And then we'll be able to do that flight. We're going to do that next week, but don't worry, we'll have plenty of prep beforehand and I'll make sure we're all up and running. All right. So what's this now? Your audio, that's all okay. So I'm going to connect here on the other screen. And I'm going to connect with that. I have an option that says connect in observer mode or not. I'm going to do it for the crack. There's a beep. We have filed the wrong flight plan. That's okay. Now, so here we are in X-Plane. Now, don't mind that my chopper's just sitting there on the ground, right? Put on the old brakes there, Murphy. So, understood. This is using defaults. This is X-plane scenery out of the box, right? It is what it is. Now, you have options here. On X-plane, if you wanted to, you can actually turn nameplates on when you're on VATSIM, which can be handy, right? You know, you can turn this stuff on. Naughty, you take care, mate. If you want to be using nameplates to see who's flying around with you, it can be a real immersion breaker, but don't worry about it, all right? But this is what Boston looks. It's actually not too bad for default scenery. It's just not. Right? This is Boston in X-plane. You see that the runway layout, yeah, X-plane 12, yeah. You can see what the layout is, where everything looks like. The airport is accurate, the runways are accurate, and the runway markings aren't too bad. Now, whether or not the taxiway markings are good, I don't know. Let's have a look. This is where you'll struggle, using kind of default scenery versus custom-made scenery. Bearing in mind in Microsoft Flight Sim, I was using custom scenery. Let's have a look. So how do we know? This should be Bravo, shouldn't it? Let's see if the taxiway markings make sense. So that's Alpha, that's Bravo. Yeah, we're not too bad. So it's telling us this is Bravo. So the markings are okay. Let's go down here now and see if Echo is where it needs to be. So November 1268 Alpha. There's a Dallas. So the left-hand side should be Echo. Yeah, it's accurate. There's Echo, there's Kilo. Yeah? So there's this Dallas taking off, right? And there's a United blasting off here as well. And what I can do, we can jump into our aircraft here. This is the Augusta 139. And we'll go ahead and put some radio power in here as well.
Rotor low.
That's okay.
Rotor low.
And we're going to tune in. We're going to tune in our radios just so we can have a listen here, yeah? So let me see. What do we want to do? We're just going to dial in COM 1. And let me see. We can dial into Boston Tower 1288, right? So to do that, how do we do this now, Murph? Do my dials work? No. Pause. Right, so we need to do this manually, right? So let me see. We should be on comm. So we got 128. On now, Betsy. Right hand side. So we want 1288. 128. 8. Now I don't have a control set up for this. Maybe they work over there. So 1288. 88. And transfer. That is Boston Tower.
Boston Tower, good evening. Cross runway 4 left approach, continue taxi.
Continue taxi, crossing runway 4 left approach, Delta 638 heavy.
So Delta 638 heavy. There he is there. Yeah? So we're listening in on their conversation of what's going on. So there's the Delta, alright?
1286 Alpha 10 left heading 270, contact Boston departure 133.0 here.
So you can see how this works. We were in Microsoft Flight Sim.
70, contact Boston departure 1330.
We can see you in VATSIM radar. Yeah. I'll be on the ground. I'm not doing nothing, but I'm just sitting on the ground at Boston. I'm not flying, but they can see me now, yeah? Now this is where X-plane can get absolutely sexy. If I just change the time of day here, lads.
Correction 638 heavy, the wind 15010, runway 4 right, clear for takeoff.
This is where X-plane starts getting pretty.
Runway 4 right.
Hello there.
Delta 638 heavy.
Right. The flight sim, many thanks, welcome in. This is where I can start getting very, very pretty, yeah? Yeah, I'm not in observer mode. I should be, but I'm not. Like the night lighting in X-plane, it can be nice, like, it can be very nice. You know what I mean? So this guy is going to be departing. So we'll make it daytime. So he's going to be blasting from here. Now, I don't know, did he get clear takeoff? I think he did. Almost certainly did. Sandino, thank you for the subscribe. Welcome in, mate. He did, he gave him clear. So we'll hear him spool up and then gone. Yeah? So that's VATSIM. The aircraft models, they're never going to be the same as what you're flying yourself. So there he goes. Toga! So he's going to blast out of here, and the models they're low poly. The reason being is though because it'll eat into your frame rates otherwise. Do you know what I mean? So they're going to give you relatively basic stuff. But you can see it's the same crack. It doesn't matter what sim you're on. You could be in Microsoft Flight Sim, or you can be on X-Plane. Look at the wind hitting there. And that's him. You're going to see the gear go up, and then he's good luck in the cup. He's out of there. See ya. All right. And that's just us sitting on the ramp, and you can see, yeah, you know, this is default. There is freeware scenery and there's payware scenery in X-Plane as well.
Heavy concept departure, we'll see ya.
Over to departure.
Going over to departure, Delta 638 Heavy.
November 417, November Heavy, Boston Tower, good evening, cross runway 4 left of kilo, join Mike.
Good evening, cross runway 4 left and join Mike. November 417, November.
Isn't that deadly? Look at the amount of aircraft here. And again, like, we can check this out on the VATSIM radar. And that's what I'm saying, like, it doesn't matter what sim you're on. Microsoft Flight Sim is just, I think it's just better. But X-Plane it's a very, very good sim as well, right? Model matching might be out, but look, there's a ton of aircraft here. And like, we would consider, if we saw that in Dublin, we'd be like, Jesus, Dublin is busy, isn't it? You know, and my call sign, Irish 235, they're probably saying, what is this Egypt doing? Right?
November 417, November Heavy, the wind 1.
So we'll disconnect before we get ourselves into trouble. But you can see the plan. You can see what you can do. All right. So next week we're going to be looking at a flight from Boston. It's going to take us out over to down to Providence. Right. If you get a chance, lads, start looking in and see if you can start completing these flights. Because I know for me, I haven't registered some of the flights. Which was VF4 3 and 4. Haven't managed those. Now I have done IFR 1, right? So that should populate itself now after a few minutes, because they've passed it, right? They should add that in themselves. And you can redo these flights at any stage. Just because you have them complete, it doesn't mean you can't go back in and do them again. I would highly recommend go back and do some of these. And like, that's the beauty of this course. You can just say, do you know what? I'm not comfortable entering Class Bravo airspace on VF4. I'm going to go back and just do that lesson once again. Or you're going to say, do you know what? I'm terrified when it comes to, you know, a missed approach and a hold entry. Balls. You know, here's a whole lesson on that. They're going to teach you how to do it. Yeah. And then later on, in addition to all of this, lads, once we have the IFR stuff done, and there's going to be 5 of these, again, we go back to our ground school document. There's going to be, let me see. Oh, slow down there now, Sally. Hey. Come on up here, Murph. So, clearance delivery phase 2. So these are the flights. Introduction. IFR 2, that's going to be Boston to Providence. IFR 3 is going to focus on airways as we navigate using a published airway, right? IFR 5 are going to be the stars. They are arrival routes rather than just your ILSs and whatever else. And then part, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Part 5 is going to be an IFR check ride where we're going to be flying out and we're becoming just 2 different airports we're not used to. Complex IFR skills review airborne IFR clearances, as in we're going to be getting our clearance from the air. What? So we're going to be flying VFR, and next thing we want to pick up our IFR. That's going to be class. That's done in the real world. And when all that's done, and that's phase 2, when all that's done, we're going to start focusing in on Oshkosh, and then I'm going to start getting us involved in some of the oceanic stuff to prepare for cross the pond. That's the ultimate of ultimate. It'll be oceanic clearances, which will happen in the Atlantic, of course, and also in the Pacific. But that's what we're going to be looking towards, giving you guys all the prep that you need in order to be able to do cross the pond and know exactly how to do everything. Position reports, you name it, the whole shebang, and we're going to learn it together. And if you think we're moving a little bit too fast, let me know on Discord. Murph, you're moving too far ahead. Dial it back a bit. We'll plan time on Discord to go back through the stuff. It is never, ever going to be too late to start learning this stuff. Never. Never going to be too late at all. And later on in the year, I will go back and do the whole shebang again. The whole shebang again. So don't worry. If you're waiting to get up and running,
Hello there.
you know, jump on and see what the crack is. Oceanic scares the bejesus out of me, says Gibbo. Can't wait for that one. Yeah, we're going to do the whole thing. And we'll simulate it in a lot of different ways, right? Ultimately, lads, we're going to be doing cross the pond flights. We're going to cross the Atlantic, cross the Pacific. We're going to go. It's ETOPS, extended range. That's all the stuff we're going to learn. And I'll try and make it specific to the aircraft you're going to be flying. So you're going to have an Airbus variant, a Boeing variant, and something else in between. Proline system or something. They're all doing the same stuff. But we need to figure out what it is. Position report, balls. What exactly does he want me to do here? Fly upside down for 1 minute and tell me how hot it is. Right. Anyway, all this information, if you are new here, lads, all this information is already published. It's over on our own website. It's twotonemurphy.com. Once you arrive to the website, make an account. It's free. We don't sell your information for much. We don't sell your information. Click on the Learn ATC series. It's free to join. It just means then if there's any updates or news, you get a little ping to say, hey, something's happened. And I don't think I even turned them on yet. Anyway, Gibbo's done all the back work into this, which is absolutely incredible. Go into the Learn ATC series, and here you can start off on our first course that we did, the VFR and the IFR series that we've already completed. That's based on flying in Europe, specifically in Ireland, but you can apply the Irish stuff to the rest of Europe. You're sound. All right. This one here is our latest course. This is the ATC conversion course to fly in the United States. And it's in here you will find the ground school document. It's asking me to log in. So I need to log in. In there now, you divil you. And once we're logged in, we can then view the document. Give it a second to load. Here's your PDF. It's the entire PDF. You can print it. You can save it. You can do what you like with it. But that is the entire 288 pages of a ground school document. And what's the word count? What's the word count? It's thinking about it. 75,121 words. 75,120. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. All the information I got from that, lads, a lot of it is online. A lot of it is from VATSIM itself. I put my own real world stuff experience in there. I put in real world ground school information in there. I've read the FAA friggin' pilot's handbook. I've read the UK and ICAO stuff for radio telephony. All the information, like, it's valid. Saying that, I'm an idiot. If you find something that's incorrect, well, do let me know and I will fix it. That's important, right? Does X-Plane have its own model matching? Not by default, Captain Ray. Model matching on X-Plane is fairly straightforward. X-Pilot will tell you how to do it. The client will actually do it for you. The client will download the model matching for you. It uses something that's called, is it the Blue Mesh or Blue Bird or something? I forget, one of them. They're very basic models. You can use Just Flight's Traffic X, right? FSLTL, I think there's one in there as well. Not once in the words did I find the word Egypt. It's in there. Egypt is in there. Control and find, EEJIT. You'll find it. There it is. The document will give you more confidence than ever before because you can use it as a reference. I'm not going to lie. That took me, the biggest Egypt on Twitch, about 2 hours to make. Wendy, I can fly. So there is an Egypt in there, but only one, right? But anyway, lads, this is all free and it's for nothing else, only to help you expand and enhance your hobby, which is flight sim. Aviation and flight sim. That's all we're trying to do here. Everyone who started off in the community, you know, it was Control and E. How did we get the aircraft to fly? Let's check out all this gorgeous scenery. Then we kind of evolved into, well, let's fly some more systems depth aircraft. And then what do we do? Well, let's start flying some of these real world routes. Let's get some ATC up in our face and let's see what happens. It's an evolution of our hobby. So don't be afraid of it. Flying on VATSIM, despite what you might think looking at it, it is awesome. It's so much fun. And when you hear the accents, that always does it for me. You know, I'm an Irishman and I'm listening to controllers in Boston. It's incredible. I love this. I absolutely love this. So yeah, learning this course, we're all on the journey together. So if you've any questions, let us know. We have an area over on our Discord. That's where we're all set up. So if you go into here, come on down to the FAA ATC course, and that's where all the information is. All right. Free charts for, yeah, there's free charts there as well. Boston Virtual ARTCC actually point you to free charts. Then you have ChartFox as well. Navigraph is just a highly polished version of it, but there is other options. And if you have ForeFlight, if you're doing real world flying, use ForeFlight, you know. But anyway, I hope you found this somewhat helpful and you've enjoyed it. And again, I was only trying to explain just to give you an idea of what can happen on the other sims, right? And as I said, when we get to our Thursday night flights, eventually, I'll be looking after a few of them, especially in the US. We'll start flying them on VATSIM, and some nights I'll use X-Plane, and some nights I'll use Microsoft Flight Sim. That's what we're going to be doing, you know. So lads, thank you all so very, very much indeed. Have a lovely evening. We're back to you tomorrow. We're doing some trucking. We're going to Switzerland, and that should be fun. ETS2. And Wednesday we have the news, and I'm going to be showing off saying, what am I showing off? Say Intentions, yes. I'm going to be showing off Chase Plane. If anyone's interested in Chase Plane, or maybe you want to know what all the hype is about, well, I'm going to give it a full delve into on Wednesday. And also my reshade. I noticed a good few people are asking me, Murph, what are my settings for the sim? How does it look? Very, very different. I'm going to go through my reshade settings on Wednesday. I'm going to show you how to do it on your machine as well. Then on Friday night, we have a group flight flying for the, what was it? Who was it? Something of breadsticks. Yes, we're tasked to fly for the Ministry of Culinary Breadsticks, as we're going to be flying in the Pyrenees regions, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Captain Ray says, does Beyond ATC help too? Yeah, you can use Beyond ATC. My favorite is Say Intentions. Mainly because, well, it's far more than the ATC, right? Say Intentions are really building a lot of features in there, and there's like phenomenal exciting stuff coming down the line. I'm privy to a little bit of the information because we get on like a house on fire. We get on well, and they share information, and I can do a bit of messing. But the team they have, it's a small team, but they're very, very passionate. They are very passionate, and they want to make the absolute best. The absolute best, and we align in that regard. We've similar goals. We share the same goals, and that's why I like working with them. I don't work with any old Egypt. I won't work with any old Egypt because credibility is everything, lads. Right? Credibility is everything. But yeah, you can use the flight planner. The problem with the flight planner in the sim. One of the potential limitations with the flight planner for the sim, the default one right now, it's using Lido data, which means it's using Lufthansa's model. It doesn't have every airport. It has a lot though. It has a lot. So yeah, and you're sponsored. Yeah, and I'm sponsored, 100%. But it's a partnership. It's a partnership. That's what it's all about. Partnering with companies that share the same goals. That's vital. Like it's just vital. That's how we kind of make things work. You can't do the reshade bit without the green shirt, right? Yeah. No. Well, it might be dry. We'll do the green shirt stuff. Don't forget, lads. If you're going to Flight Sim Expo, I'll be there, and Say Intentions are going to be there. And yeah, if you've any questions, that's your chance to really get in front of them and say, hey, what's the story here? Or hey, what are you doing about that? Or can you bring this into it? Do you know what I mean? They're all kind of great stuff to do. But anyway, I'm away now. Back to work tomorrow. We're going driving tomorrow night, and then Wednesday night we're doing all this stuff. Altitude leaving. Thank you very much indeed. 8 months, man. Thank you very, very much indeed. Thank you so much, lads, for all the support tonight. Thanks so much. If you have any questions, if you're stuck anywhere, if you want like a slower... Here's the other thing I forgot to mention. All the courses, by the way, everything, pardon me, we've done thus far, right? Everything. There are videos available already on YouTube of every single course. All you need to do is have patience by listening to this Egypt for a couple of hours. But every single course from zero, absolute zero to hero is already there, depending on the type of course you want to do. The IFR, the VFR, and of course our conversion course as well. Each and every single video. When we did the IFR course back last year, we had, it was incredible, man. We had a our own native network. We had ATC controlling from Rambog and from Gibbo. And then eventually the lads from VAT Air came in. Adam gave us a dig out as well. There was some awesome stuff in there. Check those out as well. There's some really, really cool stuff. Right, anyway, I'll be talking to the cows come home, and sure they nearly are. So where's the Liverpool jersey? Ah, Jesus. It's in the wash, Gibbo. I was going to wear the Liverpool jersey, and then I said, no, we'll box the head off it. Right, I'll see you tomorrow, 1900 Zulu for some trucking. Thank you so much, and have a great evening. Is Mike Roch in the chat? Mike Roch? That's brilliant. Hey everybody, is there a Mike Roch here? Is Mike Roch here? Where you can enjoy complimentary deluxe continental breakfast daily with afternoon hors d'oeuvres and a fully stocked honor bar. Get up there. Complimentary hot and cold beverages throughout the day. Fairmount Gold combines personalised...
I'm sorry, did you just say hors d'oeuvres?
Hors d'oeuvres. Hors d'oeuvres. Oh no, I made a terrible mistake.